Fans, welcome to a live stream in honor and celebration of National Peanut Day, which is today, September 13th, 2020. So we're going to celebrate tonight. And I've invited some cool people to the stream, and until they get here, they should be coming shortly. Until that happens, till some people come, we could just hang out. It's been a long time since I've just had a live stream with the Eternal Life Fan Club, so hopefully in this stream you'll get some updates. We'll be talking about peanuts and other cool things related to eternal life. So, who have I invited tonight? We have on the roster, we have Brent Nally. And we have Max Anderson and Alex Kotov and potentially Raw Matt. But we're going to have a cool live stream. And what can we talk about? Eternal life strategy. You can ask me questions. Eternal life. That's what this channel's about. That's what it's always been about. How do we increase our chances of living forever? We got to cure aging. We have to take advantage of all the health therapies that are available to us. And we can do it. Well, living forever is possible. That's always been the motto on this channel. And it remains the motto. Living forever is possible. How can I say that living forever is possible? Because we don't know the future, right? So as long as we don't know the future is a big question mark. It's unknown. Therefore, living forever is possible because we don't know what tomorrow holds. Hey, Infinite Siren. Good to see you. And, yes, it's, let's talk a little bit about peanuts before my guests arrive. I got some peanut butter here. The basic thing you need to know about peanut butter is you have to choose a healthy peanut butter without all the additives. In peanut butter, you're going to find hydrogenated oils. You're going to find, in all these major brands, you're going to find sugar. You're going to find all kinds of things that will damage you. So you want a healthy brand of peanut butter that just peanuts. Peanuts, maybe some sea salt, right? But nothing more than peanuts. That's what you want. Because all these additives are just totally toxic. So, what else is new with eternal life? Yes, there's some exciting things I'm excited about personally, which I've recently kind of learned about, which is thymus regeneration. We can regenerate the thymus and we can have strong immune system. So what happens is when people get old, their thymus gland shrinks, and that's a big part of their immune system. So we need a therapy that can regenerate our thymus, and then we could have healthy immune systems forever. So that's one thing I'm excited about. But we could watch some videos about peanut butter, about peanuts. I was watching this, so we're such in a blessed world that, let's think about peanuts right now for a second. How blessed we are for having the option to just go to the store and buy some peanut butter. Do you know how amazing that is? They didn't have that, back in the day. So now we have just blessings upon blessings. We can just eat the healthiest food. We can just... This is transhumanism. This is what's going to bring us into the future. So, life is only getting better. So yes, I did have some videos prepared we could watch. About peanuts. How peanut butter is made. Very interesting.
Whose teeth were so bad they couldn't chew meat. Nice.
Raw Matt is here. Hey, Matt. Wish you were here too. Let's see. Hopefully you can make it sometime tonight. Yeah, I want to talk about just the health benefits of peanuts and things like that. I know I got you to eat peanut, products, which is exciting to hear. Any other fans of peanuts? I like crunchy or smooth personally. I like them both. Someone is coming here, I think. Oh, Brent's here.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. We're celebrating peanut butter.
Huh. For some reason, it's not. Skype isn't recognizing my Logitech Brio.
There you go. We see you now.
It's only recognizing my FaceTime MacBook and my MacBook Pro microphone. I don't know what the heck's going on. Let me see if I can switch them.
All right. You are live. It's like the Truman Show. You just entered. You are live in front of the whole world.
The whole world. Well, time for some product placement.
Yeah.
Costco Kirkland Organic Creamy Peanut Butter is the best peanut butter of all time.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Why are you doing that? That's so weird. Just like the Truman Show, right?
Yep. I love that, dude.
Yeah.
Costco peanut butter is freaking bomb. It is amazing.
Well, I'm just going to use my FaceTime camera because it's not recognizing my Logitech 4K webcam or my microphone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is Max there?
He's in his room right now. He can join me just by he hears me. He's there's no walls or anything, so he hears me. Love it.
So today's National Peanut Butter Day, huh?
Yes.
Well, in honor.
Yes. Should
Peanut butter.
mine. My video camera's not showing for the audience right now. Oh, here it is. Look at this. It's all messed up. Yes, I got my peanut butter here. Mine is from Trader Joe's, but I love the Costco brand as well. They're both good.
So good.
The Costco brand probably tastes a little better because it has added sea salt, which makes it flavorful. I like that flavor.
Dry roasted organic peanuts and sea salt.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you guys?
So Max and I have just been going for a lot of walks, doing a lot of just healthy celery juicing, eating peanut butter, just really trying to focus on health and doing long walks. So that's what Max and I have been doing.
There you go. Walking, one of the most underrated health tips.
Yep. That is so true. Sitting, they say sitting is the new smoking.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sitting right now. All right, I just switched to my Rode. Does my microphone sound better now? My audio?
I think it does.
But for some reason, it's still not recognizing my web. Oh.
So, what's your favorite way to eat peanut butter, Brent? Like, do you mix anything with it, or you just eat it by itself?
Well, right now, I'm eating it by itself, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, there's peanut butter and chocolate, which is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I like peanut butter on my pancakes, on my waffles. I like peanut butter with celery. Although I'm not a big fan of celery. Celery juice is cool. Just eating celery raw, I just don't think it tastes great.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut butter covers it up. Peanut butter and jelly, of course. Classic.
Oh, yeah.
I do it as much as I probably should. So cheap and delicious. Peanut butter shakes, peanut butter smoothies are phenomenal.
That's my favorite way of consuming peanut butter is peanut butter, banana, honey, ice shakes. And now I use Trehalose instead of honey. But it's just...
Maybe throw some chocolate in there as well, too.
Yes, that's a good variation.
some cacao powder or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, those are the main ways that I think I consume peanut butter.
Do you know anything about the health benefits of peanuts? Have you ever looked into that?
I've been on live streams with you before when you reeled off an entire encyclopedia of health benefits, and you've told me Dr. Rhonda Patrick loves peanut butter, and that's kind of how you've learned about it. So I think the floor is yours to drop knowledge on us about the health benefits of peanut butter. That's not my forte.
Yeah, so Dr. Rhonda Patrick, it wasn't really, I don't know if she's actually that into peanut butter. I think she does eat it as part of her diet, but the fascinating thing I learned from her, she's into this idea of hormesis, right? Like this little toxins, like that's why she recommends the broccoli sprouts, because she says they work through hormesis. There are little toxins in the broccoli sprouts that enhance, like when your body's exposed to them, like it helps your brain. It like prevents dementia and things like that. So I know you know all about hormesis, right?
Oh yeah.
So she hypothesized that the molds that grow on peanuts actually could have a hormesis effect because they're toxic. They're toxic molds. But she said, and this is the first time I heard any health expert even suggest that there could be benefits to the toxic molds that grow in peanuts. And so she said, in microscopic amounts, it could have a hormetic effect and make your body stronger. And I thought that was just really interesting.
Cool. Yeah, and I'm a big believer in hormesis being a powerful health tool. David Sinclair talks about it quite a bit, and even many other people talk about it, not just David Sinclair. Does she, or do you know anything about, or do you have any theories on why some young people, and it seems to be an increasing amount of people, are allergic to peanuts, and could it have to do anything with that mold? Maybe their bodies are so unhealthy they can't handle the microdose of the mold.
That could be. So yeah, people having all kinds of it's like an autoimmune disorder, I think, is allergies, basically. It's like your body attacking itself. I think it could have to do with like vaccines, personally, because I think I've heard they use peanut proteins in some of these vaccines. Or I don't know, I think they still do, but if they're injecting peanut proteins in the body when it's too young and everything, it can have an overreaction, therefore cause like an autoimmune situation. That's potentially why. Another reason is because mothers don't feed their babies peanuts enough young, because when you feed the peanuts young to the kids, they develop the natural antibodies and stuff to fight it off, and to their immune systems recognize it. So like in Israel, they have the lowest level of peanut allergies, and they have a national peanut snack that they feed to their babies, and they literally feed this peanut snack to all their really young babies and stuff, so that they get this they can handle peanuts later in life. So I think that's another testament to how smart they are over there in Israel.
Yep, I got family in Israel. Happy birthday, Leah Muna, my cousin. Today's her birthday in Israel. So I have about, 8 cousins. My grandparents lived there, but they died. My aunt and uncle, so that's 10. And then my oldest cousin has 4 kids. So I guess I have 14 relatives that live in Israel, not including, I guess, some of the ones that are married now. Probably closer to 20 at this point. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Our 9-month, almost 10-month young baby, Alton, he's had peanuts, or he's had peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't had any real bad allergies to anything. He actually hasn't been sick. He'll get little tiny rashes on his skin, like on his cheek and stuff sometimes, but from what we've researched, that's completely normal. Your body probably is having these tiny little micro reactions. Could be the microbiome, the immune system, all sorts of things just reacting to things at first, but because those that don't know, the younger you are, the healthier you are, essentially. So he's so young and so healthy, his body is just fighting everything off and building the immunities, the antibodies. So yeah, I don't think he's allergic to anything that we know of.
Yeah.
At least not. quickly.
That's awesome. Um, it's probably also helps, breastfeeding it helps prevent allergies and things like that. So
Oh yeah, he breastfeeds multiple times every day. My dog loves peanut butter. You have any idea why dogs love peanut butter so much? It's her most favorite food.
yeah, I don't know why that is. That's amazing. And dogs are known as man's best friend. So if there's any, it's just maybe it should be our favorite food too.
I mean, this is delicious. I don't normally sit around and just eat peanut butter like this, but hey, it's National Peanut Butter Day, and I'm live streaming with the man, the myth, the legend, Rowan Horn, Eternal Life Fan Club founder. So,
Thank you. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have my first bite of peanut butter here.
so Rowan and Max came to visit me a couple days ago on Thursday. Had a good time. I saw Max, his fanaticism towards the Kansas City Chiefs. Big fan of the Chiefs, and we watched the game, the opening game of the NFL, and saw all the mask commercials and all the people wearing masks on the sidelines and things like that. And I watched a little bit of NFL. I turned it on for maybe 15 minutes today, and there's nobody in the stands in the games today. Whereas the Chiefs, I think, had one quarter capacity. So pretty interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
How's your peanut butter?
It's just so I usually have it with something sweet, so by itself it's just so dry and makes me thirsty, But it's good flavor.
Yeah. I actually don't have any water in here, so at some point I'll have to have my wife get me some water. I'll have to go get some because, yeah, it's delicious, but a lot of smacking,
And that's always fun to watch dogs eat peanut butter because they're just like...
Oh, yeah. Well, Pearl gets it all over her fur on her face, too, So that's why we try and trim her up, keep her face hair short so she doesn't get peanut butter stuck to it all the time.
Okay, so I'm going to quiz you on peanuts. Is peanut a nut? Is it really a botanical nut?
No, it's a legume.
Correct. I thought you knew that. It's actually
What's
a
funny
bean, right? Yeah.
In 2015, I was being introduced to, at the end of 2015, I was being introduced to some new team members. I worked at lynda.com. We got bought by LinkedIn in 2015, and we were on some big video conference call with like 30 people on it, and we were waiting for like the director to join or something, and they were talking about peanuts. So like, oh yeah, it's a delicious nut and this and that. Now, I was like, actually, peanuts aren't nuts. They're actually a legume. Hey, I'm Brent Nally. I know a lot of random facts that don't really matter. And then everybody like cracked up. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome. And what other random facts about peanuts do you know?
What are the random facts about peanuts do I know? I don't know. I mean, not many other than like I ate the crap peanut butter like most people did in America growing up in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever. Skippy, Jiffy, Peter Pan, high fructose corn syrup's like the first ingredient, complete garbage.
Yeah.
And then I remember first learned about real peanut butter and how the oils separate on top. And I started eating that in college. When I actually started shopping for myself, I started going to a company that got bought by Whole Foods. It was called Wild Oats. I used to love that store in Lexington, Kentucky. I went to University of Kentucky for college. So this is back in like 2004, 2005. And that's when I started eating real peanut butter on my own for the first time. That's where I started eating like a lot of real food. No offense to my mom and dad, but they didn't know much about health back then. A lot of people didn't. The internet was still fairly new. 2004, 2005, especially for boomers like my parents, late adapters to things. So it wasn't until I started having to cook and prepare food, being an adult. This was freshman year for me was 2003, 2004 in the dorms. So you're still in the dorms. You're eating all the food at the restaurants because the way that it was set up, I had a Plus account, which was a card that had digitally all my money on there for food that was included, that my parents paid for. So it wasn't until I actually got a house my sophomore year in 2004 and 5 and actually had to start shopping that I just started, educating myself, going out to the grocery store. Hey, there's this Jiffy stuff, but what is this? Organic peanut butter. That sounds interesting, huh? Then you look at it, you're like, huh, what's this oil on top? What's going on here? And then you try it, and it's delicious. And then you go back to peanut butter that you used to love, and you're like, this is chemical garbage.
Yep.
And then you start realizing, well, is it just peanut butter? Oh, no, it's like pretty much everything,
Yep.
So peanut butter was one of those things for me that was kind of like a gateway to real food.
Absolutely. That's the same thing happened to me, like learning about the toxins in the peanut butter. You realize, it's just so different. It's so different from the real stuff. The real stuff is awesome. And you hear a lot of, and you study health, I'm sure you've seen this too. A lot of people demonize peanut butter. Have you noticed that in the health industry, even amongst health gurus? I'm sure you've heard a health guru just like bash peanut butter, right?
Well, I mean, you and I, we've done live streams, on longevity, and I think, you've loved our longevity YouTube channel, and you love peanut butter. And I think you've asked a few people. I think you asked Bill Falloon back in March when we interviewed him, hey, what do you think about peanut butter? And I think Bill Falloon was like, oh, no, the chemicals and, preservatives. No. And I think what you meant was like, what about organic, like real peanut butter?
Yeah.
And I think that Bill would probably say that that's fine. But he said, well, why not just eat peanuts? And that's so I remember your response vaguely. I'm going to table that too, Ron. So why is peanut butter better than just eating peanuts?
Ooh. I like that peanut butter is tested. So it's tested for the levels of aflatoxin. When you get peanuts, like in the bulk bin or in shells or anything, you can't really know the level of mycotoxins in that peanut because it's just like it's not tested. A different peanut might have like literally level mold growing on it, and another one might be fine. So you're going to have variation and randomness of the peanuts in like a bulk bin. There's going to be like unregulated amounts of aflatoxin that could reach really high damaging levels. But peanut butter, since it's blended up and they test the batches, it's like they can literally minimize the amount of exposure to aflatoxin and the toxic molds in peanuts, because it is a concern. Like in other countries where there's not proper storage facilities and stuff, they can like have bags of peanuts go moldy, people eating them, and then like they're literally all dying of liver cancer because aflatoxin is horrible for your liver. Horrible. It's a serious toxin. But in peanut butter, it's regulated, So that's why I think peanut butter is ultimately healthier.
And my peanut butter is made with 100% U.S. Valencia peanuts. My peanut butter from Kirkland. This is the only peanut butter I've been buying for years. I mean,
yeah,
it's such a great value. I trust Costco. Trust is hard these days. So many scams out there. So Costco, I trust for so many things. And I remember a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4, there was a huge story that 60 Minutes did on the olive oil industry, not just in the U.S., but in the whole Western world, in Europe. It turned out over 80% of the olive oil was laced with cheap oils like canola oil, just garbage oils, grapeseed oil, all sorts of crap that you don't want to put in your body. And what were one of the very few brands that actually had real olive oil when they tested? Costco, Kirkland. So I said, good for me. Yeah, for a decade or so, I've been buying most of my products, and all of the olive oil I've ever bought in the last 10 years or so is from Costco, extra virgin. So be careful who you follow. Be careful what brands you purchase and invest in, right?
Yeah, that's so true. I get most, like 90% of my shopping at Costco as well, and it's never let me down. Quality, they really source for quality. So, love it.
So what else is new with you guys?
Hmm. Not much. Not much around here. I've just been waiting for this peanut day to do the live stream. I just been waiting for it. You know, once you like go like a month without uploading videos, it kind of gets a little awkward, right? You want to like reintroduce yourself again to your audience because who knows how much people have lost you and
Yeah.
everything. So I was like planning the perfect day to like, okay, actually have a live stream again. And it's like peanut day. That's it.
Peanut
So
day.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't done a video on my Brent and Alley YouTube channel a couple months. I've been busy with Lifespan News on Leaf's channel, which I do need to record that tonight, so I will have to go. We can chat for an hour or so, but I do need to record that. So yeah, I know what you mean. Just kind of thinking of when to do it and getting that muscle memory back, right?
Mm-hmm. So in the beginning of the stream, I was talking about like some of the therapies, the anti-aging therapies that I'm like most excited about. And for me, because I'm like an immunocompromised person, I'm kind of always like focused on, oh, the immune system, because of course the immune system has a lot to do with aging. So I was telling the audience like I'm excited about the thymus regeneration. If we can just get that, I think that's a huge step forward. What are your thoughts on like what are you most excited about in the field of anti-aging? What's the biggest thing you think is just right around the horizon?
Well, those are two separate questions. What I'm most excited
Yes.
about and what is right around the horizon. Um, I'm most excited about gene therapy. I think gene therapy is really exciting, and I still think that it's quite a ways away to be cheaper and more affordable for average people, and to be safe and show efficacy and show results. So yeah, it still can be kind of scary because there's a lot of steps in the process that could go wrong. Um, and it's very expensive. But there's lots of things, stem cells, exosomes. I'm really excited about all those things. NAD plus, all sorts of things that we've talked about on our channel multiple times. Yeah, thymus regeneration. In last week's episode of Lifespan News, I talked about that, and Greg Fay and his work that he's doing on it. I think thymus is super important. I think the immune system is super important. I just think that aging is such a complex process, and I think there's so many things that are intertwined. So I just think that if the thymus is regenerated completely, that's even like not even really a fully scientific term or like statement that I just made there, because the thymus is so strong when you're like my son's age at like 9 months. It's already degenerated quite a bit by the time you're, a teenager. Mm-hmm. And that's true for so many aspects of aging. So, yeah, it will be real interesting to see as time ticks along how this all plays out, because I think that there's going to be people who are going to be focused on one thing, in anti-aging, and they're going to do that one thing and it's going to show good results. But then the question will be, well, what if we do that one thing with something else and something else and something else? Like, for example, somebody who does telomerase gene therapy, like Liz Parrish, for example, and follistatin gene therapy. And I think she's also, she's done those too. She's either done Clotho or she'll be doing it soon. And then to see, well, what if she also like tries to regenerate her thymus, not out of the question, because she is friends with Greg Fay, and, so on and so on and so on. Because I don't think aging or reversing aging is just one thing. I think that there are things that are further upstream than others, and that's the $1 trillion question, I guess, right? What is the most upstream thing of aging that causes and can therefore potentially reverse biological aging?
Right.
So, yeah, we'll just have to see how it all plays out. So,
how about this? In the realm of supplements and food, so in the realms of just things we can ingest, what do you think is the substance we already have access to of all foods and supplements that is the most beneficial in terms of potentially increasing our longevity? What do you think? What are you most excited about in just the realm of ingestible substances?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to answer that because it's like there's the aging care capsules here from Bill Andrews, which,
Mm-hmm.
according to him, it's telomerase activator, telomerase activating molecule. That's what TAM stands for. This is TAM 818. There's also isogenics, which is also has telomerase activation ingredients in them, and TA65. I think those things are very powerful. However, that's not just one thing. I don't know if you were looking for like a one thing answer like NAD plus, or Fisetin or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that's actually what I was thinking. But it was good to know about that supplement too. But yeah, what would be like the one substance that was just one, either supplement or whole food? I'll take a whole food in this question, but not like a supplement with like 20 different ingredients.
One supplement or whole food. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's anything that's that impactful. I mean, it's gonna help keep it slow, maybe slow down aging a little bit, maybe in some ways like stop it, but reversing to a significant factor, no. Like you're not gonna be taking like NAD plus pills or resveratrol or any of this stuff, trehalose or uh, any of the stuff that we talk about that's going to significantly, it's not going to get you to live 1,000 years.
Right.
So we need a lot more than that. So what I typically advise people is don't waste your money on that stuff. Save your money. Money's important. I think that what I already alluded to earlier, I think gene therapy and very advanced things that might be very expensive um, are way more impactful and will be. So I'd say save your money. That's what I tend to do. I mean, I take some stuff. You've been around me. You've seen the stuff that I take.
Mm-hmm.
I switch it up from time to time, but I'm 35 right now, and I'm certainly not. I mean, you can look at pictures of me when I was 25, and I've certainly aged, even though I've tried lots and lots of different things.
Yep.
I think just sleeping, instead of wasting your money on that stuff, just make sure you're doing the things that we know actually works, that's safe and effective. Get good sleep, do intermittent fasting, exercise, think positive, walk, just walk every day, which is hard to do right now. I don't know if we want to change the conversation, Rowan, but the wildfires in
Oh yeah.
California, it's crazy. Like I just took my dog on a walk, before we hopped on this live stream, and it's 200 air quality air index here in Folsom, California, where I live. But I got to get outside. I got to move around. My dog needs to go on a walk. I need to go on a walk. Even for my psychological benefits at this time. I mean, I haven't really left the house much in the last few weeks because of these wildfires. It's crazy.
Yeah. It looks like Silent Hill. Do you know that reference? Do you know the movie Silent Hill?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's this movie where there's literally this town and it's just like there's raining down ashes on the town. So there's always this smoky ash everywhere. Um,
Yeah,
and it's
I look
literally
out.
like they're in hell. All these people in this town are literally in like another dimension, but in hell, and their whole town is like this like hell and the smoke and brimstone everywhere. So
I look outside on my trash can, recycling bin, and green waste out there, and they all have these little micro ash all over them. That's been there for weeks now, and it's all over the ground in our backyard and stuff. I mean, it's pretty crazy. But I haven't researched this, but I went to my brother's farm on Friday with my family, and my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, and he was telling me that this air quality index is kind of a scam. And what he means by that is that it's not as bad as what I think the government and whoever is behind the air quality index rating, it's not as bad as they're making it out to be, as long as you're breathing in burnt organic trees. Like we're able to breathe in a certain amount of smoke compared to houses that are burning that have like formaldehyde, asbestos potentially, and all other crazy types of chemicals. You're breathing in that stuff, that could be really bad. But in these particular wildfires that have been going on in the last few weeks in California, I don't believe that there's been that many homes burned down relative to the acreage of actual fires that have occurred all over the state. I think they've done a pretty good job of containing them from burning down lots of homes. Whereas, to my memory, I think in like late 2017 in Southern California, quite a bit of homes burned down. I remember that same company I was just mentioning I would work for, Lynda.com. They're headquartered in Carpinteria, California, which is just south of Santa Barbara. A lot of the employees there had to evacuate their homes during those fires in late 2017, and we had a few employees that I was, good friends with who lost their homes. It was really unfortunate. So I haven't been hearing much of that, and from what I've researched, it hasn't been that bad. So just anybody who can comment and look into it, maybe I could do more research on it. But the point is that maybe the air quality isn't as bad as what we've been led to, or what I've perceived, because think about it, we've all grown up camping, right? And you can, around a campfire, that's what it smells like when we walk outside our house, right, Rowan?
Yeah.
It smells like a campfire. So I don't know, how bad could it be?
I guess I would only be, I think it's pretty bad, but it's much worse when you actually see the ashes, right? Because you don't want to get one of those particulate in your lungs. I've literally seen it when I was in, Sacramento. I literally saw where it was like raining ashes. Did you see that too?
Oh, I've literally seen it. I've been outside like sunbathing. This was probably like 10 days ago or so, and there's just ash like literally falling down. I was like, all right, I'm going inside. Yeah. But this is the catch-22 of this whole thing, right? I mean, this has gone on for quite a while now. It's been weeks, and it's back and forth. I want to be healthy. Obviously, my goal and probably everybody watching this live stream or watching it later, their goal is to be as healthy as possible. But it's very difficult to just be a hermit and stay in your house nonstop. I mean, I need to get out and move around. So,
yeah.
Quite frankly, I've stayed in the house a lot, me, my wife, and my child, and my dog. And my dog has been going crazy the last few weeks. Like, she's 6.5 years old, and she's wanted to play now like she's a puppy more and more the last few weeks, because she's not getting the proper walks like she normally gets.
Right. Speaking of health, someone in the audience asks, have we seen the documentary What the Health? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have.
I think I did too, but I literally forgot it. That sucks.
I think
I see, the thing is, I've watched so many health documentaries that it's like I get them all mixed up in my head because I've seen so many different ones.
I do too. I'm in your same boat, Rowan. I've seen tons of them over the years. There's that one, I think it's called Unhealthy right now. It's on Netflix. It's a series.
Okay. You learning anything cool from that one? Anything?
Yeah, they had an episode on intermittent fasting. They had an episode on bee stings. They had an episode on ayahuasca, on breast milk.
Human breast milk, right? Human breast milk.
Human breast milk, yeah. And there were a couple more. There were 6 total. And I thought they were all really well done. They're all kind of the same format. They kind of present all sides, skeptics, believers, people in between, scientists, people who are more giving anecdotal information that don't have scientific, backgrounds. I thought they were all really well done, and it's a good show. I'd recommend people check out. Another show on Netflix we watched recently, we watched this one with you and Max a few weeks ago when you guys were at my place, was the show that Zac Efron has. I think it was episode 4 of his show. It was about longevity, and Walter Lago was on there, and the guy who termed him Blue Zones, the Blue Zones, because he had a blue pen was the reason why. Thought that was a pretty good episode. It wasn't groundbreaking, for people like us who...
I just it was such a breath of fresh air to actually see a celebrity using their voice for something really awesome like that. So that was pretty cool.
I agree. That's why I recommend we check it out. And it turns out, I told Keith Cometto about this, and turns out he has a whole spreadsheet for documentaries and for celebrities who promote in any way longevity efforts. So he added it to his little spreadsheet.
Wow. Then he needs to add Billie Eilish to the list. She's been doing some things to promote like health. I'm not into her like veganism thing, but she was actually, I was looking up today, she actually eats peanut butter, which is good. I always like find out which celebrities eat peanut butter. It's really weird.
How do you go about conducting that research?
I just type in, I find this, I pick the celebrity and I go, this person's name, peanut butter, interview, seeing if they're talking about it.
Interesting.
It's crazy. So peanut butter, Billie Eilish is on the list then.
Yeah, I know you're obsessed with Billie Eilish, and she's talked about, longevity in a few ways and how she doesn't want to die and how she wants to live forever. And yeah. So how about you fund some longevity research, Billie Eilish? If you're listening, get in touch with us because we got some interesting ideas on how you can actually accomplish that.
Yes. And I think she wants to be around for a long time on Earth. She literally just wrote a song called "I'm in Love with My Future," and she's literally talking about how she can't wait to meet her future, and like she's just like obsessed with her future. And who's obsessed with their future most of all? It's people who are like planning on living forever, because we are like looking forward to like all this stuff in the future.
I'm very obsessed with my future. I just hope that future Brent Alton Nally isn't some old inflammaged version of myself. That's why I'm trying to do everything possible I know of to stay as biologically young as possible, so I can enjoy the future and not just experience it.
Yes.
So we'll see about that. Another thing, speaking about the future and stuff, I research Tesla and electric vehicles a lot in my spare time, and I've just been captivated with this Nikola story.
Right.
I've told you, right?
Yes.
I've been doing ample amount of research on this, and I might actually pivot my Brent Nally YouTube channel to making, Tesla electric vehicle content and exposing this Nikola scam. I think this Nikola scam, the founder, Trevor Milton, he's the executive chairman now. I think this is the largest, most elaborate scam the stock market has ever seen. Personally, the American stock market. And it might be in the beginning of uncrumbling right now, because since you guys left on Thursday, I think it was either Thursday night or Friday morning, like when you guys left, this research firm called Hindenburg, they came out with a 50-page research report kind of exposing tons of lies and fraudulent information of Nikola and Trevor Milton. And so it's been pretty fascinating. I've been shorting the stock and made some good money off of shorting the stock. Shorting the stock, for those that don't know, is just when you're, instead of betting the company goes up, you own the stock, you're shorting it. So it means that you're sell the shares short. That's kind of like a tongue twister, right?
Right.
Sell the shares short, which means you're just betting that the stock price goes down. So you make money if the stock price goes down. So I've been knee deep in this stuff. It's probably not the right medium to talk about it right now, an Eternal Life fan. But the way I tie it in is we don't want to just live forever or indefinitely. We want a better reality. That's what transhumanism is all about, true transhumanism. And we're only going to have a better reality if we get to sustainable energy. And just like in life extension, there's serious and legitimate people and scientists. And for every one of those, there's probably 10 scammers out there, right? Companies scam their marketing and all sorts of things. Well, I just think this Nikola thing is a massive, massive, elaborate scam. It's actually not that hard to figure out. We have YouTube, we have the internet. This guy's just a pathological liar, Trevor Milton. So To anybody, if you're thinking about or have been investing in Nikola, I can put it in the comment section if you want. I can probably put 20 YouTube videos that will show you how much of a liar this guy is. And the only final thing I'll say on this is it's just really sad, man, to see people just lying through their teeth. I think honesty, integrity, morals, ethics, like those things just seem to be so rare nowadays in 2020. So I'm really glad to have met you, Rowan, and Max and Alex. I'm pretty good at seen how people's true colors are. Might take me a while. With some people, it might take a little bit longer. I think you probably know who I'm talking about, Rowan. Um, but with some people, it's really easy to figure out because they're just stink of fraud, and that's Trevor Milton with Nicola. So, one thing I like to say, Naval Ravikant's a guy I follow, and I think he's brilliant. He says, "Be careful who you follow." So, just a disclaimer to everybody: be careful who you follow out there on the internet. Lots of scammers and fraudsters out there.
Right. And it comes back to health too. Like a lot of people just like find a guru, like a health guru, and just listen to everything they say. It's like, no, this is your health. Like research for yourself. Don't just like follow one person. Like they follow one person. Like how can you trust your whole health with like having some favorite health guru? And I've literally seen this again and again. People just like find a health guru and just like dogmatically do whatever that person says. No, we can learn from all the health gurus, but you don't like just pick one. That's so stupid.
Right. That's why meta-analysis is much better than a single analysis. You don't want to just look at one study. You want to look at a meta-study. So, yeah, really good point. I don't follow just one person. I'm not obsessed with just one person. Right. Health or in anything, There's people you should have weighted respect and credibility for various people. So in other words, if Elon Musk says something to me, that's going to be way more credible than, some random joker on the street that I run into or something.
Right.
But it also doesn't mean that anything that Elon Musk says, I immediately, just believe as the gospel, as the ultimate truth. Think for yourself and always be skeptical. Don't believe anything I say or Rowan says. Do your own research. Yeah. Don't trust, verify. That's something we say in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin community. Don't trust, verify.
Yep. Keep your mind wide open to all the possibilities. I think that's one of the biggest things in philosophy is just open-mindedness to everything. Like, because we were talking about the box. People say think outside the box, but it depends on how big you're defining the box as. Some people think the box is here, but what if the box is actually way bigger than they think it is? So
right. A lot of people think that we just live in a universe, and it's like, well, what's outside that universe? And they're like, well, I don't know. It's like, well, you ever heard of the multiverse theory? Because I personally believe we're in an infinite multiverse, just never-ending infinity. And then you could even say, well, what's outside of that? I'd be like, I don't know. But
so wait, an infinite multiverse. Are you saying you think in every one of these multiverses there's another you?
No, I'm not talking about that. That's like parallel universe.
Oh, okay.
That's something fascinating as well too that I've researched quite a bit. But multiverse doesn't necessarily mean that there's like other versions of you. It's just other universes with other rules and laws and.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But nobody knows for sure. I mean, it's not like we're researching these other multiverses. It's just the whole idea of a multiverse has come from physics, from the way that I've researched and studied it, and it has to do with gravitational waves that lead us to believe that there are other universes. Therefore, we would be in a multiverse.
Mm-hmm. It also has a lot to do that idea of the multiverse is also very connected to the Mandela effect, which is the topic I find so interesting. I always just like to, I'm not saying like I don't know, I know that's true at all, but it's also so interesting to entertain that idea that there could be different parallel universes and you can switch to different ones, and it's just like weird.
Yeah, I watched a lot of videos on the Mandela effect on YouTube in 2017, and there's some, I don't know if you call them conspiracy theorists. I just call them confused people who literally thought that there were movies that have been changed and things like that, whereas really what is really going on there, in my opinion, is just people misremembering things. So like
false memories.
Yeah, false memories. So like if you ask a lot of people, hey, what was Tom Cruise wearing in Risky Business when he's dancing with the white shirt on and his underwear? I've personally done this. I've asked probably 30 people this in the last few years. And what do you think their answer is? Like, if you ask them, like, was he wearing sunglasses?
They
I
will
think I
say yes.
They'll say yes, right? And why do they do that? And there's two main reasons why. Number one, because he's wearing sunglasses on the cover of the movie. Um, and then number two, there's so many people who has worn that outfit, that costume, like for Halloween, fraternity guys and girls and stuff. I mean, in college, I never dressed up as it, but I saw tons of people dress up as that. And they're always wearing the sunglasses because of the cover of the movie, and he wore the sunglasses in the movie. But he wasn't wearing the sunglasses in that scene. And a lot of people just think that he was, but he wasn't. And so then a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's the Mandela effect. They went back and changed the movie. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can understand that if it's just streaming on Netflix. And, we have deep fakes, right? Deep fakes are a very well-known thing. You can watch videos on how they work. But how would you explain that changing on your VHS or your DVD tape with dust all over it in your garage? It's been there for 15, 20 years.
The only way to explain it would be literally a different universe, like a parallel universe where everything was just slightly altered.
People are like, no, I swear, he was wearing sunglasses in it. I know he was. I don't care what anybody else says. Blah, blah. And there was, it's just, to me, it was just entertaining to watch videos like that on YouTube of people who are so convinced that they believe that their VHS tape or DVD player. Now, listen, maybe that did happen, but if that did happen, then we're clearly in some type of a matrix. Yeah. But you know what? I do believe that we're in a digital reality. I just don't actually think that things like that are happening or changing in this digital reality that we're in.
It's absolutely the type of thing, the Mandela effect, it's the type of thing like a cult could be started around, or like I could just see that just growing so huge in the future. I mean, just like huge, the Mandela effect.
I'm sure it probably already is a thing. I mean, from the videos I saw on YouTube and the views that they had and the upvotes, I remember thinking like, wow, this video has like tens or hundreds of thousands of views and lots of upvotes. And maybe people are just watching them for the same comedic relief and intrigue as I was, and weren't necessarily, even if you give it an upvote, you're just kind of whatever. It doesn't mean you actually believe the same thing the person does in the video necessarily.
Right. All right, so we have a question from Jama Warsame. Do you guys know Dmitry Iskov?
I don't know him. I know of him. We might be connected on LinkedIn or something, but I'm connected with lots of people on, who are in longevity. Yeah, he's a billionaire in his 30s from Russia, and he started the 2045 initiative, and he wants to live as long as possible, and he wants to create, digital backups of us, create our mind in the cloud, so to speak, and stuff like that. And I think it's quite an arduous task.
Yes. Yeah. I would like the 2045 initiative more if it was about the Avatar thing would be cool, but it needs to be the biological brain in the avatar. Like, it would have to transplant the brain into a robotic avatar. Like, to me, that's the only way that would actually preserve the consciousness. If it's just some digital upload where they're copying the information in your brain onto some computer chip, to me it seems like that doesn't work. That's not a real transfer of consciousness.
Yeah, Rowan and I have talked about this many times in private, and I would believe we've probably talked about it multiple times on this channel, Livestream, as well too. We're not trying to live forever or indefinitely or whatever you call it in some computer chip. I mean, that's cool. I'll take that over death any day, but we want to live indefinitely biologically in our bodies with our consciousness. And the reason is because we're very skeptical of all these other forms of uploading our consciousness and stuff, because we don't actually know what consciousness is or how it's created fully. And I've researched this thoroughly by very intelligent people. We don't know what it creates it. That word consciousness is a word like God or love. It's this, or intelligence or something. It's this weird word that takes a lot of thought to define it and explain it to people. It can sound simple on the surface, but once you start, really getting into the detail, you realize that this word consciousness is really, really complex, because you start playing all these, experiment, games, or these, different scenarios. And you're like, well, what if you lose your foot? Are you still conscious then? Oh yeah, I'm still me. I'm still conscious. I just lost a foot. Okay, what if you lost your heart? Yeah, still me, just don't have a heart anymore. Okay, well, there's 40,000, neurons in your heart that have memory. The Heart Math Institute has proven this. It's in Boulder Creek, California, just south of Santa Cruz. And they've been showing this since the early 90s, and they show that your heart has the memory first, and then it sends a signal to your brain. So, okay, so maybe if you lose your heart, then you're still you and you have a lot of your memories, you just don't have all of them. What if so you see where I'm going with this. And I just think that I just want to keep living. Even if a lot of my memories get wiped, I think Rowan and I, we're the ultimate, we just want to keep living. There's no scenario I can really think of right now, unless it's just like unlimited torture or something, that I wouldn't want to live. That would be, if it's just torture for all of infinity, then no, I don't want to just experience torture for all of infinity.
Yeah.
Just end it. But we really have a insanely strong will to live, like way more than I'd say 99.999% of people.
I agree. Because life is just too fun. It's just that simple. It's like, life is too fun. Like, why wouldn't you want to live forever? I don't get it. It's like, we talk about it all the time. It's just how weird it is. It almost seems like a Twilight episode that more people don't get this. That, like, life is good. Like, why aren't more people into this curing aging and living forever? It's just so weird how rare of a group this is, isn't it?
It is total weird and bizarre. We've put a lot of thought into why that might be. I think people are indoctrinated. People are taught things from their society when they're very young. And, here's the experiment. My son is almost 10 months young right now. He was born November 20th, 2020. We're going to raise our son very differently than most people will. We're going to just try and teach him what we believe is true, my wife and I and our families. And so, we'll teach him that it's good to want to live as long as possible. Death is bad. We'll teach him about finance, about the stock market. We'll teach him about the false paradigm of the left and the right and the Democrat, Republican, and how, those things are just evil and bad. We'll teach him all sorts of things like that. And we'll see how he grows up. I'm pretty sure he's going to grow up sane and rational, but he's going to be very different. He's going to be very different than most people, because he's not going to fit into this little box of like, who are you? You're Christian, Republican, and you blah, 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 blah. He's just going to be a very unique individual. Or he could reject all those things and fall in line into the idiocracy of everything else. But I really doubt it, because something bad would have to happen to me or my wife, because we're going to have a lot of influence on him to make him see things correctly.
Absolutely. I think for example, if with you as a father, like he'll take the red pill for sure. He's got it. Come on.
Right. So, for example, if you study so many of these incredibly successful people, mainly people that I study that are incredibly successful or successful in business, technology, what you'll find almost all the time is that they had some type of upbringing that was very different. So, like, for example, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, founders of Google, they both had parents that were computer scientists and had them in front of computers, taking apart computers and stuff, when they were very young, under the age of 5. If you look at Warren Buffett, it's been documented that Warren Buffett, his father was a congressman, first of all. So Warren Buffett was born into affluence. And Warren read every single book on finance, accounting, and economics in the Omaha Public Library, where he grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, by the time he was 13. So it's no secret, that he knew so much, or it's no surprise that he knew so much about finance and has become one of the wealthiest people on the planet with 70 or $80 billion right now. So in general, my point is that if you pump kids' heads full of crap, it's no surprise they're going to grow up stupid, believing in nonsense. If you teach them the Easter Bunny's real and Santa Claus is real and stuff like that, and teach them all this, stuff about religion, it's nonsense, then they're going to believe that, because the way that the brain works, we have an associative memory, meaning we just pretty much believe what people tell us. So if you actually just teach them truth, imagine that from a very young age. And then, a lot of people, when I tell them this, rebuke that with like, well, you're going to destroy their childhood. And it's like, well, first of all, I don't believe I'm doing that. I think I'm giving them a great childhood by doing that. And second of all, I know for sure that I won't be destroying their future because they're going to be smart and you're probably going to be working for my son at one point. Your kid that you're teaching about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all this other nonsense, they're probably not going to be as smart or as driven as my son, who is going to be, taught things that actually matter from a young age. So we'll see. Future isn't promised. Nothing's promised. These fires could burn down our house and kill us all here by the end of the night. You never know. But that's our plan, and that's my mindset.
Yeah. It's awesome that just the idea of making someone, like making a human being that becomes a superhuman, like these, like literally, because you're literally creating someone that's going to have not, the future technology at their disposal, like Neuralink and everything, like literally, they're going to be like, have superpowers. So you're literally creating superhumans if they live long enough.
If we live long enough, yeah. I mean, our iPhones are pretty crazy if you think about it. People were not predicting these things. There were some people who could predict the iPhone 30 years ago, but for the most part, society in general was not expecting our life to be like this in 2020, where we have these smartphones, tablets, tiny little computers at our disposal, and the internet and things like that. So just as people weren't predicting that, there's tons of things that I have in my mind that I think the world will be like in 10, 20, 30 years that most people are not thinking about. Mm-hmm. So if you can kind of try and predict the future a bit and prepare for that, then you'll have massive benefits from doing that and getting it right.
Do you think Neuralink will actually be able to, like, I just watched this video recently. It was, I think it was Australia 60 Minutes, where this girl could remember everything she ever did. Like, every day, boom, she remembered exactly what she did that day. And she could just pick a day from her history. It's crazy how good a memory she had. So the idea is that our brain is storing all these memories. We just don't have access to them. I wonder if, like, Neuralink will let us access all those memories. Do you think?
I've thought about this quite a bit. 60 Minutes. I used to watch a lot of 60 Minutes from like the 90s. I grew up watching it. And then I had DVR all through the 2000s and 2010s. It's only been within the past couple of years or so that we cut cable and kind of just stopped watching 60 Minutes. I watched some things here and there, but in 2011, they did an episode on 8 people. One of them was a famous actress. It's kind of ironic. I can't remember her name. She's a boomer. She's like in her 60s. And these 8 people, the other 7 were not famous people at all. They're just normal people. But they all had perfect memories, as you just described this lady on 60 Minutes Australia. And yeah, they can remember every detail of their waking life since they were like little kids. And they had all these kind of tests to verify that. Like one of them was a Pittsburgh Steelers football NFL fan, I remember. And so they asked him, like, hey, what happened at this particular time in this game in like 1976 or something? And he was like, oh yeah, I remember, like, this was happening and John Elway scrambled. I'm not getting this all right. I don't even know if John Elway, of course, didn't play. I was thinking Terry Bradshaw was the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback back in, I think, the 70s or the 80s, maybe a little bit of both. In any event, it doesn't matter. But he described, as this guy was describing it, 60 Minutes was playing that play on screen, and he was describing it exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, there were things like that. These people have perfect memories, and there were 8 of them that they found that they interviewed in 2011. And so then I think it was either in that episode or I did further research. Again, it's ironic that I don't remember how I know this, but I've seen this, and I've seen Elon Musk even talk about this, and neuroscientists believe that we do actually have all the memories stored in our brain. It's the access to them that gets damaged as we get older, or just genetically, most of us don't have that. It could be one gene, that is a mutation or is just turned on in these people where they just get access to all these memories. And if you think that sounds crazy, think of it like this. There's all sorts of times that we experience where you can't think of something, you were just thinking of it, and then how do you get that memory? I've developed this skill, I've kind of worked on it as I've gotten older. What you do is you just try and put yourself right back in that placement of when you were thinking about that thought. Everything, any type of visual or emotional or teletactile, with your fingers, or olfactory with your nose, smells, anything could help you stimulate that memory. Mm-hmm. So the more you kind of put yourself in that scenario. So what I do is like, okay, I really think something was important. I can't remember what it was. It was like 5 minutes ago when I was thinking of this. Now I can't remember it. What is this? Well, what I'll do is I'll say, okay, where was I? What's more information about what I was doing or thinking about when I had that memory? And if I can say, okay, I know I was in the shower. All right, I'll literally walk back over to the shower. Be like, okay, I know I was like looking up at the shower head. I'll look up at the shower head. Like the more you can get back to recreating that, the better you can find that memory.
Interesting.
So in other words, that memory is there. That idea is there. It's hard to access it though. And the reason why what I'm saying works is because of the neural networks and the way that they work. So these people might just have a gene mutation or whatever it is where they just have better neural networks to access information than we do. And so yes, from the way that I understand Neuralink, what it's doing is using these tiny little electrodes to stimulate electrical activity around your neurons. So yeah, I mean they could totally figure out how this works and turn on it. You could literally turn on it. You could just think about this program and be like, okay, now I want to access this memory, and then it stimulates the electrodes to fire it up and stimulate the ones that you need to access that memory. Could be as simple as that.
Do you realize like what a sci-fi movie this could make? Because what if like a future society, the justice system is so advanced that it takes people's brains, it scans them for all their memories so it can see everything they've ever done. And then they start prosecuting people for things they've done like thousands of years ago, Yeah.
I mean, we're in like a Minority Report and Black Mirror episode at this point. Mm-hmm. So who knows what the future will be like with that stuff. I could totally see those things happening. However, I personally believe if we're in a society that's that advanced, we all have skeletons in our closet. I don't think that the justice system is going to be, let me just say, if the justice system is as predatory as it is now in a future like that, we're all going to be in jail, or 99.99% of us, and it's just going to be the 0.001% that rule everything already. Right. That are going to use this as a predatory system to justify putting people in jail.
Yep.
So we don't want a future like that. That's a very dystopian future, and we don't want that.
That's like the ultimate invasion of privacy. It's like if people think Facebook is bad, what if in the future they'll scan your brain and digitalize all that information so they can just literally have everything? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you want to retain and own more and more of your own personal data, and you don't want big companies like Facebook and Google and Apple and so on and so forth, owning and retaining your data as they do now, because that's a big problem. Data's the new oil. So you really want to own and retain as much of your data to have as much freedom as possible. But we will see. The future is going to be weirder than you think. I know that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and the future of like food too. That's another thing people don't think about. It's like, what will food be in like a 1,000 years from now? Like the hybridization of the food and the with all the gene editing and things, like there could be crazy. Like the food will look completely different 1,000 years from now, and all the culinary stuff, it all evolves, and who knows?
Maybe. I mean, almost certainly food will continue to evolve, but there might be people, I mean, we might kind of end up being like the Amish a little bit, people like you and I, if we just want to continue to eat natural whole foods, natural, as minimized, as processed and gene edited as possible. I mean, I like to eat grapes without seeds in them. Technically those have been gene edited. I like to eat watermelons without seeds in them and things like that. So Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, the GMO stuff, that's going to be crazy. But they could literally create like new foods, I think, you know? Like,
They already been, yeah. I mean, look at the Impossible Burger or
yeah.
the other competitors of that, right? I mean, that's fake food.
Yeah, like because like with CRISPR technology, they can literally like insert different flavors. Like you can make like I think there'll be like designer fruits. Like people like start inventing new fruits. Like, you know, like here's this, just like they're already doing. Like I saw at the store, there's like cotton candy grapes. There's grapes that taste like cotton candy, and it's like amazing. Have you ever had those?
I've got them at Costco a few times. I don't think that they taste like cotton candy. I do think they do taste good, though.
Yeah.
I think it's marketing. Um, I ate some cotton candy growing up as a kid, and I think it's delicious. I'm a sugar addict. I don't know when the last time I've actually eaten cotton candy, though. Maybe I wouldn't think it's good now that I'm an adult and my taste buds have changed because I eat healthy foods now. But yeah, I've had it a few times. I haven't seen it at Costco in the last maybe couple years or so, but I have had it a few times. I do think they're good, but I don't think they taste like cotton candy.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe someone will invent like the snozberry that was in Willy Wonka. Like, you know, these fake fruits that are like in someone's imagination. We can make them real.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've already created new fruits and things like that. You can cross a lemon and a lime and call it a limen and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the future is going to be weirder than you think. I'll just say that.
Clown World keeps on. Like, if this is Clown World, you know, version 1.0 or whatever, just is there a limit to how weird society could get? Like, think about how in 100 years, what's the Clown World going to be like in 100 years?
No, there's no limit, Rowan. That's what I've, you know, whenever I bring up Idiocracy Arising, you know, I've brought it up on this YouTube channel tons of times. I bring it up in lots of my interviews. If you hang around me in person, it's hard to get through a conversation with me for an hour or two without me bringing it up. No, that's what I've been trying to tell people. There is no limit to how weird reality can get and how dumb people can get. I mean, look at 2020. Look at all the mass nonsense people have fallen for with COVID-19 and all sorts of things, right? I mean, it's just no politics. My favorite quote about politics is by Ross Perot. Here's baby's going to sleep. Is it time for bed, baby? Here's Alton.
Hey, Alton.
Question, buddy. You smiling? What are you gonna say, buddy? You smiling? He sees Rowan. So Ross, Rowan's doing peekaboo, peekaboo, peekaboo. Ross Perot said, "War has rules. Mud wrestling has rules. Politics has no rules." So I just think that politics is taking over our society right now, and it's not healthy because it's divisive. It's the Republicans versus the Democrats. And whenever you have two gangs having this much influence on our society, it's not good. The Crips and the Bloods are bad, but they're just two little gangs, mainly in South Central LA and a few other places. They don't, you know, inflict much damage on the global society. Whereas these Democrats and Republicans, the Democrats and Republicans, they are inflicting quite a bit of damage. So I wish people can get out of the false left-right, Democrat, Republican paradigm and focus on, you know, being a human being and focusing on truth. Right, buddy? Yeah. Is it time for bed?
Well
yeah,
said.
You can take the peanut butter out. Thanks, bed.
Well said.
Yeah, so this is Alton Earl Nally.
Do you think Alton is going to grow up to be a peanut butter lover? Is he going to...
Well, he already loves peanut butter.
He already eats peanut butter?
Oh, yeah, I said that earlier, remember?
Oh, okay. Forgot.
He had peanut butter for breakfast this morning, didn't you, buddy?
Wonderful.
He had peanut butter on his organic gluten-free waffles. Didn't you, buddy? Yeah, look at those smiles. Time for bed? Yeah, it's time for bed. He's got his onesie on. Mm-hmm. He's got his dinosaur onesie on. And with the dinosaur butt.
Mm-hmm.
He loves dinosaurs just like his dad. I love dinosaurs. All right, thanks, babe. So, yeah, there is no limit to the idiocracy of our planet and how dumb people are. I mean, I don't know. I know people are really stupid in general. You can see that in the data, in all sorts of ways. But man, people have been really stupid this year. With, I guess people just need to study more economics and history. If you study economics and history, then you see what happens over and over and over again. It's the elite wanting more and more control. Well, what's a great way for them to get more control? Divide and conquer, right? This has been going on for thousands of years, Read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I have the book over there. It's a very quick, easy read. These are easy tactics straight out of there that the elite are just playing everybody like fools right now. So I just wish people would get back to the basics, being nice to people, being kind, critically thinking. Why do they call it common sense if it's not very common?
Right.
People have completely lost the ability to think critically and use common sense.
Yes.
This year in particular.
Empathy is huge, and I think like one thing I've just been thinking a lot lately is just how different people's brains are. So to be like sympathetic with like, because like ADHD brains and just the different types of the personality test. Have you ever looked into that? Like Myers-Briggs personality test.
Yep.
So like people have such different personalities. So just to be a little sympathetic to their differences of ways of thinking, right? Just like with politics, you can't just like judge someone for being a certain, so if they're a Democrat, you're a Republican, don't judge them, because literally they found that the different personalities naturally gravitate to like being a Republican or a Democrat. It's literally just like wired in our brains. Like what politician you end up liking more. It's not people's fault so much. You know what I mean?
In a way it isn't, but in a way it is, because, we all have free will to a certain extent, and we can all learn and grow, and having a growth mindset is so important. That's why I always say audit your own thoughts, right? Think about, what if you are the one causing all these problems in your life, You ever thought about that? And how do you try to grow out of that and get better? And what is, intelligence, right? Intelligence is pattern recognition. So can you recognize a pattern, realize that you're making that mistake? What is insanity? One definition of insanity is making the same mistake over and over again and expecting a different result. So using that definition, so much of our population is insane. They're making the same mistakes over and over again and expecting like a different result, expecting their life to get better. For example, socialism, right? Socialism, if you study economics and history, you can see that it does not work. It is extreme. It's been used. The more extreme socialism is, the worse it gets, right? You look at what is the end of socialism? Well, you can see it play out right now in places like Argentina, Venezuela, and the extreme of the extreme is North Korea. I mean, those places are hellholes, complete failed economies. You look at places that have the least amount of socialism, the most free markets, which are places like Hong Kong, or used to be. China is now engulfing and overtaking Hong Kong as we speak. Places like Singapore, Macau, which is right by China. These are the most free places economically by independently verified sources. And what else do they have? Macau, Hong Kong, Singapore, highest life expectancy, highest standard of living, just over and over and over again. Roger Ver has given great presentations on this. If you want to go to Roger Ver's YouTube channel and search some of his presentations, you can find all these statistics. You can also Google them.
I'm very grateful that you introduced me to Roger Ver, because, he's awesome. And I totally love his perspective on the freaking government. And, we think.
And I'm honored to call him a friend, and have met him a few times and interviewed him a couple times on my channel. So, yeah, I mean, it isn't hard to, but here's the problem, right? If there's people who are more socialists watching right now, they probably already turned out, I'm the bad guy, right? Instead of just like wanting to get smarter and learn the truth. Doesn't matter if you're 67 years old or 17 and watching this right now. You should want to learn the truth. And The problem is people have too big of an ego, and they're too focused on being correct rather than finding the truth. In other words, it's their ego. They're like, oh, well, I believed this for so long, and I know this is true, and they don't have an open. What did you just talk about earlier, Rowan? Right?
Keep your mind open to all the possibilities. Right? Yeah.
The mind's like a parachute. It only works when it's open. And as our friend Dr. Michael Fossil says, keep an open mind, but just not so open that your brains fall out. There is a limit on the other side where your mind's so open that you're so gullible that you believe any nonsense somebody says. So the point is, it's like if you are a socialist, look into it. I've investigated it thoroughly. I'd love for it to work. When I was younger, I was more of a socialist because I was naive and I hadn't studied enough history and economics, and I didn't experience life as much as a business person. And I'm not saying that a few little social policies, programs for people can't be beneficial for them. I'm a reasonable person, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm saying that when the free market and the pricing mechanism gets disrupted to such an extreme extent, then it's very, very detrimental for society because it can disincentivize people to work and disincentivize people to provide for themselves and have that type of psychological meaningfulness to them.
Right. And it disincentivizes people to give to the poor and like charities and everything. So it almost like, because if everyone's equal and there's no more like poor, middle class, rich, if you take that away and everyone's kind of equal with the scraps, then people don't have the opportunity to like try to give to the poor out of their heart. If they're forced to give, if the government literally forces you to give all your money and taxes to everyone else so it's equal, there's no like that choice that people make to like help people and make that choice. So
I don't know if that's that big of a deal. I know what you're saying. If everybody, nobody's ever going to be fully equal. It's just never going to happen. We're all different. That's what the spice of life is. If we all are equal, then we're just all a bunch of like robots that are the exact same. If we're truly equal.
Right.
So I think that people will always, regardless of like how much money they have, people will want to give. Like there's no, even if you took so much from my mom, for example, she would still give. And money isn't the only way that we give. Money is just a tool. Yeah. We give time, we give energy, we give all other sorts of resources, love to people. So I think people will continue to do that. But I just think people haven't looked into it enough. So research voluntarism, research, freedom, really research it. And people don't understand that taxation is
just the movie Braveheart. Watch the movie Braveheart.
Yeah, that's a great movie. But in any event, yeah, it's just really sad to see people not critically thinking and us losing so much of our freedoms so fast, not just in America, but all across the world over this COVID-19 thing. So it's just really unfortunate, in my opinion. And I don't have enough power to do much about it personally. So
I feel like it's just going to cause a lot of mental illness and like depression and more loneliness, and people are losing their ability to like socialize and like talk to people, because if it's a muscle, right? If you don't exercise that muscle, if people are just in their houses all day, they're going to become more and more socially isolated and awkward and weird,
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So yeah.
So there's some questions. I think we missed a few. Let's see. Oh, one person was asking about red meat and processed meat and carcinogens. You've heard about that, right? Like the processed meat and the processed sausages and hot dogs, that's filled with carcinogens, of course.
Yeah, there's nitrates in there, which are carcinogens that cause cancer, yeah.
Yeah.
And the more you cook them, that's bad for you too. So it's not just meat. So any type of vegetable that you cook or anything that is burnt, that has black on it, I mean, that's a carcinogen.
Right.
That's a causing element. So don't just think that it's carcinogens are just only,
in meat.
found in meat. Yeah, it can be in
Coffee.
anything you
Think about
overcook.
coffee. It's burnt. It's black. So all that blackness is basically burnt. Burnt. It's a burnt bean. So it's filled with carcinogens, acrylamides, right?
Yeah.
Even peanut butter has acrylamide, according to people. So, but I think that some of these toxins, right, the hormesis, maybe there's a purpose in it. Maybe it feeds them. Maybe there's some microbiome, some bacteria in the microbiome that eats acrylamide. It can eat toxic substances, and it needs some acrylamide to survive, and it actually ends up being healthy. So
This is what it leads to, don't go crazy with all this stuff. I mean, you could have so much fear of all this stuff, you end up having psychological effects on you that are negative, like the nocebo effect. I mean, my wife's grandmother's 96 years old, and I've talked to her extensively about her diet and lifestyle, and she's made it this far. So, if we can really start exploiting the biorejuvenation industry in the next 10, 20, 30 years, and you're, young enough to make that, then that should be good enough, and you don't have to rack your brain about all this stuff too much. I'd say avoid the real bad stuff. That's the key.
yes, eventually.
Well, Rowan, you asked me the question. Do you think that the NAC that you're taking or anything is going to help you, dramatically, get you to live like 200 years, for example?
I think NAC could go a long ways. I think like NAC, because so much of longevity is about the immune system, right? When you research it, what really kills a lot of people, it's some kind of infection. Like even Alzheimer's, I think, is a type of infection. Cancers, they're like infections in our body. Viruses, like a lot of things that kill people, is their immune system breaks down, and then some virus they had gotten when they were a young person. Maybe they were born with that virus from their mother, passed it down. And then when you get old, your immune system collapses, and then something like cytomegalovirus turns into some horrible brain disease, or even herpes is correlated with getting Alzheimer's. So there's just different and viruses are the trigger of cancer. So it's just so much of these things that have to do with longevity is basically like killing off some parasite and virus that's invaded your body.
But that comes back to gene therapy, right? I think a couple weeks ago, we reported on Lifespan News that gene therapy had shown it had cured HPV, human papillomavirus. So, that's gene therapy is just really exciting. That's
yes.
Going back to what I just said earlier, right? I don't think you have to freak out too much about these things, depending on how old you are and your state of health right now. Just avoid the bad stuff, and we might be able to edit these things out with gene therapy and stuff in the future.
Yeah. So like NAC, NAC would be one of my top ones, and then of course Trehalose. Those are literally, I think if I had to like say two supplements, like those are the top ones. Because
speaking of that, I think you left a little bit of both of those at my house a few days ago, just so you know. And then the mangosteen extract, you left that as well too.
Yeah. Try it. I have tons of that. So yeah, you have that one. I have tons more.
There was nothing on the label for the mangosteen extract. I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
How much of that can I have at a time?
You can have like I would be like a fourth of a teaspoon. It's a really powerful concentrate.
I just mix it up in a smoothie or something, or can I just have it on its own?
You could mix up in a smoothie or water, or have it on its own, either or. It's kind of got a strong astringent taste. But like one of Becky's dogs was like really old at one point and just like on his last legs, and she started giving that to it, and it really helped it. It boosted, like it started growing. Its hair started growing in color again.
A 17-year-old dog.
I forgot which one, but it was. I think the dog might be dead now. It might have been an older one.
Oh, okay.
But that dog, it really helped the dog. So
okay,
like it helps humans. It's supposed to be like one of the things that could, like, let's say someone is like really, really old and on their deathbed or something. It's the type of thing that's supposed to be so powerful that it can like give that type of person extra years. It can bring them back. That's what people use it for.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Some NIC today for lunch, and I guess one thing I could announce I still haven't told a lot of my friends and stuff, but we've been packing a lot of boxes today. We're moving. The Nally family is moving from Folsom to El Dorado Hills.
Yeah, I saw the house. It looks beautiful, beautiful, amazing.
Yeah, we'll be excited to have you over once it's all set up.
Definitely.
But moving's no fun. Hopefully, this will be the last time for a while. We'll see.
Yeah.
Just hours upon hours of your life just gone.
Hopefully,
You
you
know.
get a ping pong table. That would be fun.
You know what? I think for now we're not going to have a dining room, and so or we're not going to have a dining room table, but we have a dining room.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a place to put a ping pong
See,
table.
yes, I love ping pong.
Try and convince the wife on that one. That might be a really tough one.
Yeah.
I don't get your hopes up. I'll just say.
Yeah. Ping pong's awesome because to me it's just like other sports I just not into, because they seem dangerous. First of all, I don't want to get a traumatic brain injury like football, soccer, even basketball. People get traumatic brain injuries, but like ping pong's like safe. You just it feels like it's a workout for your brain. I've always loved it.
I love ping pong too. We'll have to play sometime, whether it's at my house at a ping pong table or somewhere else. It's a lot of fun.
So, what do you think is the most powerful things people could do for their brain health, other than, of course, sleeping? Because I'm always just focused on the brain, because I feel like I've told you this. I think I feel like I've gotten a few things in my life that might have given me mild brain damage. Like I had a very severe concussion when I was a kid. It was a very severe concussion. I came out of it normal, but it's like still just having that concussion. They say even just one concussion can give people like 40% increased chance of Alzheimer's disease later in life. They say one serious concussion can cause brain damage like 30 years later or 20 years later. Like it causes these tau plaques, and they just like almost a cascading effect of damage that just keeps on damaging your brain or something a long time later. So
Tau, T-A-U.
Yeah, Tau.
I don't know. I probably had micro concussions. I might have even had one or multiple concussions. I've never been diagnosed personally, but I've played basketball and baseball and things like that growing up. I wrestled, but in any event, to answer your question, I think just doing what you love is the best thing for your brain. Just really enjoying life, being around people that you enjoy, doing things that you enjoy. Giving back, adding value to the world, being a good person, thinking positively, placebo effect, all those things I think are really good for the brain. So board games, Sudoku, I've heard is really good for the brain. Games like chess, strategy games. You and Max and I were playing Risk the other night, on our phones. I think all those things are good for the brain.
I agree. Those are some very, very powerful things we could do for the brain. And then, like, I've heard supplements people take, like, I've actually studied people who get traumatic brain injury, and I've, like, really tried to research it. And people say large amounts of, like, fish oil. So, literally, that could help. Krill oil. Things I try to take, and like even fish eggs, and like that's something Rhonda Patrick is into, these fish eggs, because she says in the fish eggs the form of omega-3 that gets into your brain it gets way more into your brain than something like a fish oil. She says the fish egg has the phospholipid form, which passes the blood-brain barrier. So she says it's so good for your brain.
I take fish oils every day. I have been for over a decade. Omega-3, DHEA, fish oils.
And then CBD oil is extremely anti-inflammatory for the brain. It could be one of the best things we have against traumatic brain injury. And even things like lion's mane mushroom. I'm sure you've heard of lion's mane, right?
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's good. People say it helps. And Haley Harrison, do you know her?
Mm-hmm.
She had brain damage because she had like a tumor in her brain as a young kid, and then they took it out, but it caused a little brain damage, and she's been taking lion's mane to help her brain.
Has it been helping her?
She said it has. So they really could be causing neurogenesis, which CBD also causes neurogenesis.
Right.
Um, now, do you know anything else that causes neurogenesis?
I think some psychedelics do as well too,
Right,
like
like I heard like LSD or something.
LSD. Yep.
Yeah. I've also heard even just exercise can cause neurogenesis.
Yeah, I love. I mean, just I was talking about doing things you love. Basketball, dodgeball. I love dodgeball, but my leagues have been canceled since March of 2020 because of COVID-19. So I haven't been playing at all, unfortunately. The last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
So
I really feel like the psychedelic drugs, there could be like if you're like really old, don't you think they should be giving I just think they should be giving really old people who their neural pathways seem to be too formed, right? They have less brain plasticity. They should give those types of people like crazy psychedelics. Like why not? They're getting old. They have less, to lose, right? So it's like because they're getting old, it's like they're on their way out. Why not just give them crazy psychedelics and see if that helps their brain like heal and stuff?
yeah, if they're educated about it and they want to give it a try, those are great people. I think that old people are really good to experiment on for longevity um, purposes because it could really potentially help them, and their risk of death and suffering is much, much higher than young people. So it's more crucial that they do something about it, or they're going to just, die and suffer anyways. And then, Rowan, you and I have talked about this as well, too. I think that, people who are in prison should be given an opportunity to have more experiments on them when it comes to longevity treatments. And it could be something as simple as, hey, we think this is going to help you, like this stem cell injection or this, whatever, any type
Yeah.
of thing that we think is healthy for people. And they can get certain benefits like reduced prison time or better conditions in their prison for that. And I just think this is so intelligent and moral and ethical because there's just too many experiments on rats and stuff like this. Like, we're not rats, we're not mice, we're humans. We're very, very different than other organisms. And I don't think that there's enough, experiments, good life extension experiments going on humans, because I want a slow stop and reverse aging of humans, not of mice, not of rats, not of C. elegans or nematodes or anything like that. I don't care about them. I care about humans. So it's just very mind-boggling to me that people don't see it that way or don't think about it, because it's so ethical and moral to me, because you're probably going to be helping these people with the type of things that I'm talking about anyways.
Right.
And you're probably not going to be hurting them. And if you do help them, then it's really great. If this is like a stage 1, 2, or 3 clinical trial, then it would give us the data that we would need to then take this to the masses and really start helping, all the people on the planet, or as many people who want to, right?
I agree. Our prison system is just really stupid when you think about it. It
It's
should be reformed in so many ways.
it's so corrupt, it's beyond belief for most people. If you haven't looked into the corruption of the prison system, not just in America, but the whole planet. I mean, look at China's social credit system now, right? I mean, they've had over 1 million people at the low level of credit system essentially just taken off into internment camps. You're low enough on the social credit score of China, you can't fly, you have certain privileges just completely cut off.
Yep. And that's coming here, right? That's coming to America.
I've been saying this for a couple of years now. With COVID-19, so many of us can't fly anyways. So yeah,
I think social credit system is already here in America, and it's just not.
Yeah,
it's just not obvious to us. But they already know there's like blacklisted people and like people on this list and that list, and like there's hundreds of lists.
Plus, you just have the credit system as well too. Which is your credit score.
Oh yes.
So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting world that we live in.
Yeah, never ends. The craziness, and then just imagine what's going to happen after this election. I mean, there's just going to be I literally heard that the West Coast, like California, Oregon, and Washington, is going to secede from America and try to start their own little nation because they can't handle Trump as president. So they're going to like say, "Oh, Biden's our president," and Biden will be like, "Yeah, I'm the real winner."
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if they want to do that. Like, wanting to do something and actually accomplishing it is very different. And in this case, those are very different things. So,
Yeah.
I might want to go to Mars, but if I don't have the technical ability to do that, then I'm not going to Mars. So, yeah, we're in very strange times. That's for sure. I think that the people who are so far on the left, they can't imagine Trump winning again. And their reality is going to be so distorted if Trump wins. Likewise, the people on the right who just think that Trump's going to win, they can't imagine Biden winning. Their reality will be massively disrupted if Biden wins. So, yeah, it's going to be.
Want to do another cheers to some peanut butter?
Lauren took my peanut butter.
Okay.
She put it back in the refrigerator. So I had quite a bit of peanut butter, which was documented at the beginning of this live stream.
Do you have any food that just comforts you and just like when you're like a little, we all like depression, eat a little bit, right? Do you ever just eat something that's like, what's your ultimate comfort food?
I don't know if I have an ultimate. I mean, I love pizza like everybody. I love a good cheeseburger. I love ice cream, like good ice cream. You guys had the super premium vanilla ice cream that I get at Costco when you were at Max Rear a couple days ago. I love good fruit. I don't know. For me, it's all about the mood. Whatever mood I'm in, I really try and listen to my body and my brain and what it's craving and factor that in with my health knowledge and stuff and just do that. So,
what would you say is of all the health knowledge you have, what is the piece of health knowledge that you would say is the most rare that most people don't understand that you do understand as far as sleep?
Sleep. I know more about sleep now than I could have ever imagined, 5 years ago. I've been curious about sleep for a long time, like 15 years, but I didn't realize the research was so advanced until just a few years ago. And then I did a lot of research on this in 2018, like months and months. I was just like obsessed. I watched every video possible on YouTube of Dr. Matthew Walker, sleep scientist at Google, sleep scientist at UC Davis. I read Sean Stevenson's book, Why We Sleep, watched tons of his podcasts about sleep. Same thing. I've interviewed the sleep doctor, Dr. Michael Bruce, and watched lots of his content on YouTube as well too. And it's so important. People just have no idea. It's so important. And it's funny to me. People are like, yeah, I don't get enough sleep, but it's no big deal and I'll be fine. It's like, no, you're so wrong and you have no idea. Then there's other people who are like, yeah, I don't know, I can't sleep well, but I don't know what to do. It's like, well, you better figure this out and research it because it's really important. So now that we have a child, I've been putting my research and my love of sleep to the test because, Alton wakes up around 6 a.m. normally. So this morning I was on dad duty. I let my wife sleep in. She woke up around 8:30 or so, and then I went back to sleep, and I slept from like 8:30 to 11. And I could have just stayed up and powered through or drank coffee or whatever around 8:30 instead of going back to sleep. But I value my sleep and my health because here's my theory. Actually, it's not a theory. This is all based off scientific facts. So let me just explain how I think about this. I have money invested in the stock market and in crypto. And so if my investments go up over time, then I should just be getting wealthier the more time ticks along. Also, I believe that hopefully the scientific research, and I'm trying to contribute as much as I can in this capacity, will help us live longer and healthier as time goes along. And we also know that the less you sleep, if you're not getting the proper 8 hours of sleep approximately that you need every night, then you're doing damage to your brain and your body because it's not getting the recovery that it needs. So some people, joke, hey, I'll sleep when I'm dead. They're saying like, I don't need to sleep that much. I'll only get 4 hours or 5 hours tonight. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, the irony of that statement is that we now know from the sleep science
They're gonna
that
die sooner.
you'll die sooner, right? So if you don't get enough sleep, you're doing damage and you'll die sooner. So for me, part of my longevity escape velocity plan is making sure that I always, every night, get enough sleep as much as possible. So that's what I do. And I know that sometimes I'm sacrificing getting a project done or missing out on something. We all have FOMO of fear of missing out on something. I love life. I love all sorts of things, but I'm just not as optimal. Like my day today would not have been as good. I wouldn't have been productive if I didn't go back to sleep for another. I think it was about 2.5 hours. I slept from like 8:30 to 11. So yeah.
Sleep
Woke up at
is
11 and I felt so much better.
sleep is crucial. I feel horrible when I don't sleep. Yeah, and there's so many strategies that I've studied, and I literally probably take like 6 or 7 things like many nights just to try to help me sleep because I hate when I can't sleep. It's awful.
Yeah, just avoiding the lights, getting on the right schedule, avoiding the blue lights, avoiding lights in general. Turning down the lights when it gets, a couple hours before you're supposed to go to sleep.
I can't wait until we get sleep pods where it's just like you can set the time and just like sleep as long as you want.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to actually work though. We'll see about that. It's a little futuristic. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, Rowan, I probably got to bounce because I still have to record Lifespan News here, and it's late on a Sunday night.
All right.
And,
everyone, make sure, plug your show with Lifespan News right now. Like, make sure everyone knows to go and check it out.
Yeah, I could put a link in the description. You can just go to type in lifespan.io into YouTube or Life Extension Advocacy Foundation. I've been the host of Lifespan News for, 9 or 10 weeks now, I think. We started in July, and here it is September 13th today, I think. So it's a weekly show. We release an episode every Tuesday at noon Eastern time. It's 5 to 9 minutes or so of just kind of the latest research that the Leaf team has been able to uncover. It's Sadir El-Shouk and Nicola Bagala, who are the producers, that actually come up with the rundown of the information that I then share, that I discuss on the YouTube channel. And it's all this different research that's interesting, and we try to make it super fast, super concise, with links to more information in the description so you can research further if you want to learn more about these stories. But who can't commit 5 to 9 minutes or something once a week just to check out the info? And we feel like the show's been getting better and better every week. And
do you have a favorite topic that you've talked about in the show so far, like a favorite piece of information you've revealed?
I think Neuralink is probably the coolest thing that we've talked about personally, but there was some disagreement within the Lifespan News team on the Neuralink story. I kind of had to push that one through to even get it in there. I don't think that they've researched this or really understand the benefits that Neuralink can have to our health span and lifespan if Neuralink is successful. And I also don't think a lot of people really understand Elon Musk, like his story. He's been insanely successful at certain things that nobody else thought there was any chance of becoming true. I mean, the man has, I won't say single-handedly, because he's attracted an incredibly large amount of intelligent people around him now. I mean, what is Tesla, like 60,000 employees or something? What is SpaceX? But he has undoubtedly, more than any other person on this planet, had a greater impact on the electric vehicle movement that's now taken off, and there's no stopping it. We need sustainable energy. Forget climate change. Even if you're a climate denier, that does not matter. I'm just saying, like, there's a finite amount of oil on this planet. We need sustainable energy. We need it. And same thing with SpaceX. I mean, the man has landed rockets on an island in the middle of the ocean. This was not thought of as something that could. I mean, this is at the level of engineering of like flying a plane, right? Before the Wright brothers created the first flight, all the best air, engineers or whatever were writing books on why, humans can't fly. Just saying like it's not possible. Even though there's, birds and insects flying around, they're saying, well, humans can never do that. So in the same sense, it was thought of as like not feasible to land a rocket. Well, SpaceX, led by Elon Musk, has done that. Before that, he was at X.com that merged with PayPal. PayPal had massive disruption to the financial industry and still is, today, growing. Before that, in the mid-90s, Elon Musk worked on Zip2, which was a precursor to Apple and Google Maps. A lot of people don't realize that, and the GPS technology that he pioneered. I mean, the man is an insane genius beyond most people's comprehension. So just the fact that he's working on something like Neuralink, and his skill set, the way that he reasons with first principles, is incredible. And the final thing I'll say about Elon Musk is that from what I've learned about him, and I've researched him a lot over the years, when people ask like, hey, what is like his biggest secret? How can he accomplish all these things? The answer that I hear over and over again from very credible people who understand physics, and I'm talking about Newtonian physics, not even like quantum physics, just Newtonian, physics. Their answer is that he understands physics better than any person on the planet. So if you think about what an impact that can have, particularly on not just, computers and internet and software type things, but actual physical things like the Boring Company, automobile industry, SpaceX, things that involve like physics, like what's possible. He and his team that he leads at all these companies I just mentioned are better able to reason from first principles and say, hey, what can we disrupt in this industry? What is it that people are doing, not necessarily because it's the best way to do something, but because it's something they've just been doing for a long time, years or even decades. And it might just be bureaucratic, but there's no reason to actually do it that way. And you just lost your, you're going to the blur background, huh?
I was just testing it. Actually,
So that's the biggest thing with Elon Musk. So when it comes to Neuralink, what they've accomplished so far, it's not really groundbreaking. There's been a lot of different types of, chips that have been injected into people's brains to help with things like Parkinson's for years. But I'm excited, and I think a lot of people who understand what Elon Musk has already been able to accomplish, and it's not just him, I don't want to just put this all on him. It's the people that he's not attracted. Elon Musk is bigger than Elon Musk now.
Right.
He's got this ball rolling. He's instilled his principles and his way of thinking into so many people that work at SpaceX and Tesla and Boring Company, Neuralink, that that's what's exciting to me, is that this is a man with an extensive, proven track record of success and now massive financial resources, with his own personal net worth being somewhere around $100 billion, depending on what Tesla stock is trading at. That's what's exciting to me, because Neuralink looks like it can actually have a dramatic impact one day on people's degenerative brain conditions.
absolutely. Elon is like a freaking Schindler. He's like a Schindler character, because if you think about it, the amount of lives he's going to save with self-driving cars, because if you think about how many people die in car accidents, Neuralink's going to save all the people with Alzheimer's and everything like that. He's like going to save so many lives, so he's the ultimate humanitarian.
Right. And it's sad that so many people don't see it that way. Some of these extreme socialists and liberals be like, oh, he's worth $100 million, he's a terrible person, or $100 billion. It's like, man, did you ever stop to think that maybe he's worth that much because he's created so much value for people, And about 3,800 people die every single day from car accidents on the planet. So that's not just aging. Aging, the one thing that I'll say about aging is that, those people had their time, right? They had generally more time than people throughout history. And it's sad that they died, but they had more time than like a 17-year-old or a 35-year-old like me or something. Car accidents, not so much. Car accidents are not as kind to people's age. They don't. Car accidents are like the honey badger of death. They don't care. You know, they'll kill anybody who happens to be in that car. So
I heard a Prius is the safest car. They should hire me to like be their spokesperson or something. Safest car, Prius.
That's actually not true. So maybe years ago, but the Tesla cars are the safest cars. So that's another thing people don't realize about Tesla and Elon Musk, right?
Wow.
The man is a genius, right? They've made not only the Tesla Model S is the safest car on the planet, and it's won so many other awards. It's mind-boggling. It's an incredible car.
Wow.
You can look at
that alone is a reason to freaking buy it.
Yeah, and it's going to become safer and safer and safer. And not only that, but it's got an incredible HVAC system in it to where you're breathing like incredibly healthy air, which I've known about for years. It's one of the things I've been really excited about with the Tesla story and Elon Musk. And not many people really paid attention to that, but that is getting a lot more press just within the last few weeks in California with the wildfires and the smoke. Some people are going into their Teslas now just to be in them because they know it's the cleanest air that they can possibly breathe.
Wow.
And so Elon Musk recently tweeted just a few days ago that they plan to someday be building HVACs and air purification systems for people's homes as well too. You know, the best ones possible. Because, you know, Tesla's got Solar City that they acquired a few years ago, putting roofs on people's homes. They have the Power Pack. That's about $5,000 that you'd have in your home that converts the solar to store it in that power pack. And then you can then potentially charge your Tesla car or whatever products they might end up making in their garage. And then adding on one more feature of like kind of servicing your home would be the HVAC system as well too. So yeah, and then final thing I'll say, I guess, is Tesla Battery Day is September 22nd. So I've been doing a lot of research on that, and I think they have some. Elon Musk has said that Battery Day will be the most exciting day in Tesla's history. So I've been researching what they're probably going to report, and I have, I think, a pretty good understanding of what it's going to be, and I think their stock's going to skyrocket on the news.
Whoa, Battery Day. Interesting.
Yep. I watch a lot of YouTube videos about Tesla, and I've watched a lot of different ones about Battery Day in the last few days. So,
isn't Tesla also going to create a worldwide internet that's like, you know, like a worldwide with he's going to launch these satellites into space to give everyone internet?
That's SpaceX.
Oh, that's SpaceX.
It's still Elon Musk, but technically it's a separate company. So, yeah.
That's also such a nice thing to do, you know, for the world. That's just like, that's so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an incredible person, and it's awesome that we have people like him. And I'll just say, man, if you're one of these crazy socialists that are saying that like Elon Musk is the problem, like Bernie Sanders was like virtue signaling a few weeks ago on Twitter, like trying to make Elon Musk seem like the bad guy because he's worth whatever he's worth, you know, 100 billion, whatever it is. And it's like, you know what, Bernie, what have you done to make the world a better place, right?
Yeah.
Other than virtue signaling, you know? People don't understand that free market capitalism, business, it is not a zero-sum game, okay? It's a positive-sum game. People haven't stopped to think about this, right?
Yeah.
This iPhone right here, how do I get incredible value out of this iPhone? Because I exchange my dollars for it to Apple, and AT&T is my carrier, because the dollars that I give them is more valuable than the iPhone and the AT&T service that they're selling to me. So we're both in a better place because of that, because they want the values, they want the dollars more, and they value that more, and I want the phone and the service more. That's how free market economics works, okay? Nowhere in this story is there somebody getting shit on. Is there somebody, you know, that's doing something against their will that they don't want to be doing? They're both choosing to do this transaction. Right. Freedom, right? Politics is a zero-sum game. because what Bernie Sanders is doing is he's trying to virtue signal, and he's trying to say Elon Musk is a bad person. He's got so much money. He should give that money to other people who need it. And I'm a great person for pointing this out. So you should vote for me and give me more Twitter followers and stuff like that. That's all this political world is, and this social media world that we're living now is. And quite frankly, I'm just so disgusted with it and sick of it. I don't think Bernie Sanders is like a terrible person. I think he's done some good things, and in many ways I like him, because I actually think that Bernie Sanders and Ron Paul are the two most famous politicians in America right now that are actually ethical and honest. I think they actually believe in what they're saying, and they're not bought off by the establishment like so many, pretty much all of our politicians are, Trump included, Joe Biden included, all of them. So that's what's so frustrating to me, that people don't understand the simple things that I just pointed out right there. And this is all easily verifiable. Like, these aren't my opinions. Everything that I just stated there is like very easily verifiable. So
if Trump is bought off by the establishment, why does the establishment appear to be so against him, as far as like all the media and everything?
I didn't say that he was bought off by the establishment. That's why Trump is different. Because not bought off by the establishment. Trump is bought off by anybody who will buy him off. He has no ethics, no morals. He will do a deal with anybody if it suits him. Whereas Biden, for example, is, part of the political establishment. Whereas Trump is part of the financial establishment, which are two very different things. But Trump's done a lot of good things. I'm not going to just like spew nonstop hate on Trump, but he's also a pathological liar. I mean, he'll just lie about anything. He doesn't care, right? So he doesn't have ethics and morals in that sense.
What's your favorite thing that Trump has done?
As a president, or just throughout his whole life?
As a president.
Probably the right to try, because it impacts me and my family the most, and it's so easy, man. It's so easy. Like, why did he even have to do this? It shows you how far lost we were with Obamacare and our healthcare system and overreaching of government. I mean, it's very simple. You either own your own consciousness and you own your own life, and you should be able to do whatever you want with your body as long as you're not hurting somebody else, or you don't. Period. Okay? So the fact that Trump even had to do right to try shows you how far lost we were. But it was good that he was able to get that through. That, or just his financial decisions in general.
You know what we need next, though? We need right to try anything, any drug, any illegal anything drug, right?
Trump won't do that, because Trump, he says he's never drank alcohol or smoke a cigarette, and he doesn't like drugs in general, because he has this like boomer mentality on drugs. He doesn't understand anything about psychedelics from what I've researched. I don't think he's researched the benefits of those, and even marijuana is a light psychedelic. So I don't think that Trump has looked into those things, and you're holding your breath if you think that Trump is going to, basically become, Portugal in that sense. If people don't know, Portugal many years ago, over a decade ago, had a medical doctor become president, and they decriminalized all drugs, all of them, heroin, cocaine, everything. And if you look at the results of that, it's been incredible. Because instead of putting people like that into prison, instead they get them help if they need help, and it's been able to help them, and it's been incredible for their economy and their society in general. So that's what I'd love to see happen in America, but I'm not holding my breath on that, because I know that the people running things are so uneducated about how this works.
Yeah, it's very evil when you think the government is preventing people from having substances that could literally heal them of things, like for instance the mushrooms. that those have been shown now. I think it's the psilocybins have been shown now to help people with like certain types of migraine cluster headaches or whatever. And there are people
Right.
literally killing themselves because they can't handle their, they're literally called suicide headaches that these people get, and they're not even allowed to access like medicines, freaking like mushrooms and natural plants. It's insane.
Just do your own research, people. At least we have the internet, right? One of the most important skills that you can have is knowing how to do research on the internet. I don't think people just generally know how to do research on the internet. The more I've talked with certain people, even like my mom, like she doesn't even know how to do a Google search properly. You don't want to live in just an echo chamber of ignorance. You don't want just confirmation bias popping up in all of your social media and your Google searches and your internet in general. Use DuckDuckGo. Censorship is real. These social media companies are censoring more and more things. YouTube is censoring things like crazy. They're censoring doctors talking about COVID-19. I mean, quite frankly, it's disgusting.
Yep.
Disgusting. So learn how the internet works, learn how social media works, learn how to research on the internet, and then you'll be able to have a better opportunity of figuring out the truth
Right.
when people can't figure it out.
It's kind of interesting when you think about it. Like, we're trying to freaking cure aging when we haven't even gotten our own government to just like legalize substances that should be legal, like just basic things for health and mental health. It's insane, right? That our government is really in a bad position, and we shouldn't ignore that.
It's really bad, but it's not as bad as other places like China. I mean, I've been to China. That place is a complete hellhole. The Communist Chinese Party of China runs the whole thing. They're incredibly evil, and they're just a small group of people at the top in Beijing. There, it's not a whole lot of people, maybe 1,000 or so, and they're controlling 1.4 billion people. It's all about greed.
Yeah.
It's all about power. And now they're consuming Hong Kong, which was, as I stated earlier on this live stream, one of the most free, longest lived, productive societies the world had ever seen. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case moving forward, because China has sucked them right up. And
That is tragic.
very, very tragic. You can find some good content on it on YouTube if you want to search it or look into it. So, yeah.
Should America have like went over there and protected them? What do you think? Should we have just like went over there and built a wall there and protected them? Like, we're absorbing these people. We're adopting Hong Kong. It's America now.
I am not for America getting in the business of other people's countries. I think we have enough of our own problems here. I'll just say that it's unfortunate for Hong Kong that they couldn't keep their independence from China, and that's something that they need to figure out on their own. I mean, in a perfect world, of course, I'd like, anybody to help out Hong Kong, but I would rather us not have our American citizens' money stolen through taxation, because taxation is theft, to pay for nation building and protection in other countries. So what you imply in your question is, so people should just think about it like this. You said, should America have helped out Hong Kong? A certain, liberal person might think, yeah, they should, because that's good and we should help them out. But what you're really asking in that question is, hey, Brent, would you like money stolen from you to pay soldiers to go to Hong Kong to protect them from the Communist Chinese Party of China? That's actually the proper way to state that question.
Right.
And so the reason I answered that question no is because I don't want money stolen from me to go help them out.
Right.
I don't.
A private army could go over there if people.
The private army wants to go there and then get compensated by the Hong Kong citizens for keeping their freedom. I'm all for that, right? Same thing with private police. Everything's going on with the defund the police issue on the left and the right. The Republicans right now are saying, you can't defund the police, blah, 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 blah. You need them. You're going to have lawlessness without them. Yeah, but the police are corrupt as hell. and they're overworked and they're doing way too many things that they shouldn't be doing anyways, right? If you look at the responsibilities of the police, how those have stretched out into like crazy social services now that social workers should be doing over the last few decades, this has changed. Then clearly there needs to be radical changes in the way that we police this country. And then, of course, on the left, they're saying, yeah, defund them all completely. And then if you have no police, then you have lawlessness, essentially. But in my opinion, the free market is the answer to so many more things that people don't even think about with everything that we've pushed government to. Look at the fires that we're having right now, right? What if there were better incentives? What do I say all the time, Rowan, in our talks and our live stream?
It's all about incentives.
All about incentives, right? And the best incentives are economic incentives, because that's what really gets people to do shit. You want to motivate people, get them motivated by money,
Right.
So same thing with curing aging. That's what I've been trying to do. I know you've been trying to do it. We've been trying to get more funding for private people, private scientists, or governments, or both, to cure aging, because we believe that this is just a money problem, essentially. Really, it's an engineering problem. We need to engineer out aging. But it takes money to pay for research to do that. Or, this is why I keep bringing up people like Elon Musk with Neuralink. It takes people who already have the money to influence them to understand this and do it. Because instead of me influencing like one person who has no money, or like maybe $50,000, why don't I influence one person named Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, who has about $100 million, or Jeff Bezos, or excuse me, billion, or Jeff Bezos, who has 200 billion? Or why not try to influence all of them, including like Bill Gates and Larry Ellison and the Google founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who total have like $700 billion. Well, if I can influence 7 people who are the wealthiest people on the planet, and I know that Warren Buffett's interested in reversing aging as well too. I've told that story on live streams multiple times. Peter Attia's patient from his anti-aging practice has been friends with Warren Buffett for years and verified that Warren Buffett's very interested and has been researching anti-aging for many years. If we can influence like the top 7 wealthiest people on the planet who have a collective net worth of $800 billion, oh my God, $800 billion would have an insane impact on research and aging.
Yeah.
So the question isn't when are we going to reverse aging? The question is what are you doing and how intelligent are you doing to try and actually make this happen? That's the route I think we need to go, working on with those people who are insanely intelligent with insane amount of resources and a track record of success to try and make this happen. So
right.
In any event, yeah, I mean, you could have private security. Think about the technologies we have now, right? If you're thinking like, well, why haven't these ideas been tried before? Well, first of all, a lot of them have, and they have worked. Second of all, we're living in a different world now in 2020 than we ever had before with the technologies we have at our disposal. So if you have private security guards enforcing laws and things like that, then just have cameras like on their chests that are streaming live on YouTube to show and document everything that they're doing, right? There's ways to make this work and make this cheaper and better. Like, in other words, technology doesn't just need to innovate to bring packages to our houses faster like Amazon and disrupt the USPS, the postal service, which is like going out of business. They should have gone out of business a long time ago. And you have all these liberals being like, oh, well, we need to throw more money at them. Like, wait a minute. This is a failing enterprise that's been propped up through more and more theft called taxation for decades because they suck at what they do. And Amazon is doing it way better than them. So what do we want to do? Oh, we want to give them more money. We want to give them more resources. No, you dummies, dum-dums. Like, stop being so dumb, right? This is what we talked about earlier, right? The definition of insanity.
Just let the free market do its thing, and then the businesses that don't succeed, they'll evaporate, and new ones will take their place.
More freedom. Now, of course, people are going to be like, well, if everything's freedom, then this way. Yeah, it's not going to be a perfect world. I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect world. I'm saying it's going to be much better than the shit show that we're in right now with idiocracy arising.
The system right now is horrible because basically these corporations can just view the government as this like thing they can just parasite off of and cipher off all the money that is stolen money from taxpayers, and they're just ciphering it off like a parasite on the government and stealing from all of us.
The government is a parasite on these corporations too, because they know they can extract money from them through taxation to get them to do their bidding. So we have fascism, right? We have definitions for these words. That's a great thing about it. I've taken political science courses in college, and and I've researched this stuff further on the internet. Yeah, we're in a state of like extreme corporatocracy, fascism, whatever you want to call it, massive kleptocracy. It's just freedom, man. I just want people to research freedom. Freedom really, really is the answer. And the more freedom that you have in your choices, look at a video that I did on my YouTube channel about a year ago. It's called 4 Ways to Spend Money. If I haven't gotten through to you with all these other things about economics, I took this video from Milton Friedman. He did a show 20, 30 years ago or so, and he talked about there's 4 ways to spend money. The first way and the most efficient way is to spend your money on yourself. Think about it. When you're spending your money on yourself, you're spending something that you value with your own money. You're not stealing from anybody, you're using your own money. The next best way and that's the best way to spend money. The next best way to spend money is when you're spending somebody else's money on you. Because at least you're still spending it on something that you value. But you're spending somebody else's money. So now they might not value that, but like when you were a kid, you got a allowance or something from your parents, right? They were giving you their money because they love you and they value you, and they're letting you maybe be happy or get whatever you need by spending that money. That's the second best way to spend money. The third, do you know what the third best way is, Rowan? I was just see if you want me to just keep going or do you want to guess?
Keep going. I don't know.
All right. So the third best way to spend money is to spend your own money on somebody else, right? So that's kind of reversing it from the second way. And that's like giving a gift to somebody. But what happens when you're at Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever birthday, scenario, and you give somebody a gift and you can tell if they don't actually like it, or maybe a year later you realize they threw it away or sold it or returned it or whatever.
Right.
If they're nice, they're like, oh, thank you so much. This is great. They don't really want that though. This is why like Amazon wish lists are great, because you can just buy, and wedding wish lists, right? You can just buy something that the person already said that they want.
Right.
But if you're spending your money on something for somebody else, there's that ambiguity there, that miscommunication where you might be buying something they don't either want or don't need or both.
Right.
So you're wasting money. So it's a terrible way to spend money. The fourth and final way to spend money is the absolute worst way to spend money, and that's spending somebody else's money on somebody else. And then there you have the government. Okay? You have the government stealing money from people through taxation. Taxation is just theft. You steal it from them. And then you have bureaucrats deciding where that stolen money gets spent on. And that's not their money.
Right.
And they're not spending it necessarily on them. I mean, in some cases, you might have a governor or a president or a mayor or whatever spending some form of money on themselves. But hopefully, they're not spending that much money on themselves. They're spending it on certain, policies or whatever.
And they end up spending it on their friends in some corporation and giving the money to their friends, and it's horrible.
If you still don't realize that socialism is terrible, like this is economic facts I just laid out to you, and I laid them out in a practical way, hopefully, where you could have a light bulb go on and realize that what I'm saying is true. I mean,
it's basically, in simple terms, it's rather than the free market deciding who wins and loses, it's these bureaucrats who decide who wins and loses. They just redistribute the wealth as much as they want, however they want. It's stupid.
Right. We're living in it's idiocracy, right? I mean, we know that these things make no economic sense. We know that the best way to spend money is having individuals keep as much money as possible so that they can have the freedom to spend that money in the way that they choose, right? But that's not what's happening on this planet. We're having socialism grow more and more popular everywhere. Why? Because people are naive and they're appealing. Politicians are becoming better and better at appealing to people's emotions through social media platforms like Twitter and the lamestream, fake social media and mainstream media, making them think that taxation is good and more taxes are better to help other people out. But that's just leading more and more to the fourth and worst way to spend money, spending other people's money on other people. And it's not to say, right, don't misconstrue my words to say that like nothing good can happen from that. Sure, you can steal money from people and spend it on other people, and good things can happen from that. Okay, I'm not saying that that's not the case. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying and saying like it's not possible,
right,
to have something good happen. I'm just saying it's objectively been studied through many ways of verifying this, that it's the worst way to spend money. Okay, so if, for example, let's say that you're stealing that money to feed, the hungry, right? In the fourth scenario here, stealing it through taxation to feed the hungry. A better way to get those hungry people fed would just be to have an individual say, hey, there's hungry, have maybe the government point out that those people are starving or hungry or whatever, and have individuals decide that they want to, pay to help those people. Charity, in other words, which there's less and less charity that is possible to happen if people keep getting their money stolen through higher taxation.
Right.
So just something to think about. I'm going to end my rant on that.
Yeah, it makes people not want to be charitable because they're like thinking, well, I'm being forced to be charitable anyways. People are stealing my money and giving it to the poor people, so why should I be charitable, So it just...
yeah, I've already been charitable. I've already had my taxes, raised,
so
taken, yeah.
It's lame.
But and I wish that the government was actually using the money to help homeless people, but just walk through San Francisco or many other cities in California or America these days.
It's the same way with the church that takes donations to supposedly help the poor. Many times it's just making the pastors super ultra wealthy.
Right. Look at Joel Osteen or all these other crazy televangelists and stuff, right? So, in other words, this word intelligence is a funny word because people are like, oh, this kid's really smart. It's like, yeah, but they're still a kid. Experience is a great teacher. And now that I'm 35 years old and I've lived through and had more life experiences, I've had so many of my beliefs validated and so many others that I've been able to rethink and realize what's most likely true. So, crazy world we live in, huh?
Indeed.
Hey, I want to say one thing. You talked about Clown World earlier. Rowan and I and Max and Alex, we've had this idea for months now to create this YouTube channel called Clown World and just kind of show all the idiocracy things and the crazy things going on. But it turns out we found a few weeks ago there already is a YouTube channel that was just created called Clown World, and they're kind of doing the same thing. So,
and Katy Perry has that song like basically about Clown World. And, she actually came out with a better music video. So the other one that I showed you with Katy Perry, his music video, she came out with a way better one that, is obviously the real one. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
It's animated. It's like a really high-quality CGI music video. The whole thing is animated.
Send that to me when...
I'll send it to you.
Because I thought the one that you showed me was actually pretty creative and pretty good.
It was. So it's amazing she made two of them, huh?
Well, she's got a big budget to do pretty much whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
So we need that budget to cure aging.
Yep. And we can fix Clown World too in the process. We'll cure aging and we'll make a better Clown World.
Yep.
Basically, it's like the future's unknown. The future can go any 1,000 different ways. It's like a butterfly effect. We just have to make the best one possible.
If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that is completely true. Because who would have predicted COVID-19? If you were sitting here a year ago in September 2019, you'd be like, hey, there's this virus that's going to start here in a couple months in November 2019. And it's not going to impact your life much until March of 2019, when it just takes over everything and changes everything.
Yeah.
And sports are going to stop everywhere, and everybody's going to lose their mind and show that they know basically nothing about health and the immune system and how this works. And they're going to tell you that you're stupid, even though you're like making YouTube videos and interviewing some of the smartest people on the planet about longevity and the immune system and health. And even though you've done all this research, people are going to be like, no, you're dumb. COVID's the worst thing ever. It's like, well, show me the data that shows that COVID's the worst thing ever. And then they can't, but they still think that it is because people are not data driven. And people are driven by emotions and fear. And people are very malleable by the elites, by governments and media and social media now to believe whatever the hell they tell them. And then you're going to have crazy wildfires all throughout California for weeks at a time. And I should research this more. I mean, is there any end in sight with these fires, Rowan? Have you looked into this much?
I have not. I should research it more. It's crazy. No idea.
I need to research this more. I won't be able to do it tonight. I got to do Lifespan News. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know when these are going to end. And this is the final thing I'll say on this, which is that I know for anything, behavior change really doesn't happen, or you don't have let me make sure I say this properly. The greatest predictor of behavior change is when people are actually impacted on something. So a lot of people won't stop smoking until they find out they have lung cancer, right. Is basically what I'm saying, right? So now that these wildfires are actually really affecting my life and my wife and you and a lot of our friends and our way of life here in California, I'm fed up with this.
Yeah, this is way worse than COVID, right? I mean, having actually bad air quality, like 1,000 times worse than COVID.
For us, way worse.
Yeah,
I'm way more fearful of these wildfires impacting negatively in my life in so many ways than I ever was of COVID. I've never been scared of COVID in any capacity at all, of getting it, it's not that bad of a virus from what I've seen. You know, I'm healthy enough to where the data shows I'm going to be fine. Yeah. Like 99.999% certain I'll be fine. So I don't sit around fearing things that have statistically like basically no chance of hurting me.
Right, but we should be careful because there could be like some other wave in the future of COVID that is actually bad. And right now it's like the boy who cried wolf. The next one could actually be the real one, and this one's just the fake one.
100%. Yeah, there's no doubt it could mutate. Viruses mutate.
Right.
Or forget COVID-19. There could be another completely separate virus from COVID-19 that's way worse, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times worse than COVID-19. You know, this is reality. This is planet Earth. This is, anything can happen. So I don't discount that. And hopefully 2020 has taught people that anything can happen and that we're really good at doing certain things with given enough time. We're live streaming on YouTube right now through open broadcast software. We have smartphones, and Apple and iPhones are great, but we can't even stop a few fires. We can't even slow down. We can't even stop this little COVID-19 virus.
We can't even stop a freaking helicopter from crashing and killing Kobe Bryant. And this last actor who died who was in that film, he died of and he died of colon cancer. It's like people are just dropping like flies.
He did radiation and chemotherapy, and he did not do proper research on this. He kept working. Like he was diagnosed with colon cancer from what I read in 2016, and then he continued to work as an actor. And like he did Black Panther in like 2018. They filmed it, I believe, in 2017. It's like, dude, if I had colon cancer, I stop everything and I focus everything on not having cancer. And guess what, man? Like I'm not hating on Chadwick Boseman. It's horrible he died. I loved Black Panther, the movie, and the whole Avengers brand. And, my condolences to him and his family. May he rest in peace, all that stuff, I'm just saying, man, this is the problem with our planet. People do not take their health seriously enough. And people kind of think they're invincible until they're gone, right? You need to take your health as a priority. And when you have a health condition that's bad, you need to really stop. And quit your job, whatever. But that's why you need to save up money to make sure you're in a financially, good position to do those things if those things do happen. In other words, you need to prepare for the worst. People are not preparing for the worst at all. So.
Yep. One of my favorite quotes from a movie ever of all time is by Jane Eyre. And she was asked, how do you plan on avoiding hell? And she said, I must keep in good health and not die.
There you go.
That is the attitude. Health. It's all about health. It's the greatest wealth. People just need to focus more on their health. That's the takeaway message. I want that to be the takeaway message of every Eternal Life fan video I ever make. Take care of your health. It's the top thing, and put it at your top priority of all things.
I think it is, though, Rowan. I think that's the takeaway from all your videos, right? That's nothing.
Hope so.
That's nothing ground shattering, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, your channel is called Eternal Life Fans.
Yes,
so.
Eternal Life.
How are you going to get Eternal Life? Better stay healthy.
Better stay healthy and never die.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Rowan, this has been fun. I do need to run now, though. But we need to do more live streams. This will hopefully be the kickoff to us doing this regularly.
This was the icebreaker from all that awkward time of no videos on the channel. So now we can start pumping them out again.
Yeah, and where's Max?
He never came in. He must be doing something else. I don't know.
Was he at the casino watching football today or something?
No, he never did that. Nope. We just went out and we did something else.
Okay.
We had some ice cream. I
Nice.
never do that, but I got some Baskin Robbins ice cream because just for a special treat. Oh, peanut butter flavor because it's peanut butter day. So
that makes sense. That's why you actually did it, because you were coerced because it's Peanut Butter National Day. That makes sense.
Yeah, gotta celebrate. Gotta celebrate.
If you have to eat ice cream at like a retail place like that, what's your favorite place?
I don't know if there's any healthy ones. I always just make my own ice cream at home because it's healthier. I'm usually making Trehalose ice cream, like something like that, with raw milk cream.
All right, let me just throw it out there. Have you ever had Cold Stone Creamery?
I have. Do you think it's better than Baskin Robbins?
Do I think it's better? It's definitely better than Baskin Robbins. It's so good. Cold Stone's so good. So we had Cold Stone at my wedding in 2015. We hired a person to come in, and they had 5 flavors of ice cream and 8 different toppings. And people, when I see my friends or family and they're talk about the wedding, we just had our anniversary a few weeks ago. One of the things that most people tell us is, "Oh, that Cold Stone Creamery at your wedding was so awesome." I was like, "Yeah, that was the one thing I asked for." Actually, I asked for 2 things at our wedding from our wife: Cold Stone Creamery. We still had a cake too, but we had Cold Stone, and then I wanted my dog to be there because we love Pearl, our dog. So Pearl was rocking it at our wedding, dancing up a storm.
Awesome. Ice cream is the best. It's literally the best thing ever, isn't it?
Yep.
And you can make it healthy. Ice cream does not have to be bad for you, people. I make my own raw Trehalose ice cream. It's delicious.
In moderation, though. It's not like you're eating a gallon of it every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. In moderation.
Awesome, Rowan. Well, yeah, let's do this again soon. It was great catching up on lots of stuff. And really excited to be back on Eternal Life Fans YouTube channel again.
Thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. See you later.
All right. See ya.
Bye. All right. That was awesome. It was a great conversation. And hopefully people get some takeaway messages there. I think the overall takeaway message is don't die. Do not die. That's always been the message on this Eternal Life fan club. And that's about it. Someone says in the chat, oh look, someone says that I don't appear to have brain damage. Yes, that's wonderful. Great news. Maybe all my treatments are working, my brain damage treatments. I do a lot of stuff for my brain. My poor brain that has suffered a concussion. Ashley Bravo says, whatever happened to Pastor Steven Anderson? Hopefully he's still doing good. And I want to interview him again one day, and we'll do part 2. That'll be fun. Yeah. Alrighty. I think that is about it, you guys. I can't think of what else to talk about this stream. Hopefully I'll get some more guests on in the future, and we'll do some more later on. Plus, it looks like my camera is frozen anyways. So this is a good time to conclude this. Ashley Bravo says, do I follow Vowish and Destiny? I don't even know who those people are. I think I heard of Destiny. He's like a YouTuber. Destiny, I think I heard of him. Yeah, I don't follow them. Do you follow them? Are they cool? My camera is literally frozen, you guys. Literally frozen. That was my desktop there. Alright, I do have one thing to conclude this with. I will show you this ad. Peanut butter ad. Check this out. I thought it was really cool. By Mr. Peanut. Here we go.
Those nuts are peanuts, and those peanuts are powerful, and that power is real. So reach out and grab a handful of tomorrow, pop it in your mouth, and make today tomorrow. Did I just blow your mind? You're welcome.
Peace out, you guys. May you live forever.